All right, welcome everyone to the 2024 Lab Masters. I'm back again. My name is Trenton Johnson Bowie. For those of you tuning in at home, very excited to have this opportunity to get you on the couch, getting comfy with some food in front of you if you can't be at the event, and enjoying it online. So last year I was doing the live stream with Lana. This year I am joined by Mr. Jasper Snell. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Hello, everyone.
So Jasper, who are you, mate? Tell me a little about yourself. What's our connection?
Well, Trent coaches me in the youth squad at Boulder Lab Clayton. He's been a great coach. I competed in qualies today.
And how'd you go, mate? How was qualies?
Look, I got absolutely whooped. The boulders were the boulders were hard.
The boulders were hard. So essentially in the open categories always go to finals. So we don't have finals for the other categories, which are novice and intermediate, social and inclusive. So if you were competing on the hardest boulders, you needed to do those hardest boulders to get to the finals. So yeah, what was the energy like today, Jasper?
It was good. A lot of people in Boulder Lab, great route set, a lot of good blocks. And there were a lot of hard boulders and good climbers out here. So these top six for men and women, they're the best of the best.
That's right. So I don't think we have anyone from Victoria, which is a bit unfortunate for us. However, we'll roll with it. We'll roll with some interstates. I believe we've got a lot of people from New South Wales.
We've got some Victorians in the women's category.
Oh, we do? No, you're right. Yeah, so in the men's category, that's a great call. Yeah, so we don't have any males from Victoria. However, we have a whole bunch in the female category. We will get to announcing who has made the finals. But yes, the energy is high. Jasper and I are situated sort of out the back. We're a bit segregated, but we've got our special screens in front of us seeing the boulders. What do you think the boulders look like, mate? What can you see? Are you
They're
excited
good. They're good, yeah. I mean, they look hard. I'm loving the colours.
Yeah. So Pat, owner of Boulder Lab, director of Boulder Lab, got really busy last 2 weeks and made a whole bunch of new volumes. So what you can see here on the screen, some mega stackable volumes at the base of the wall here. This is female 4, I believe, and then you've got men's number 4 to the right of you, and then to the left we've got men's 1. We come back down, we've got some crescent moons on the left, looking really nice, and then back over to some blue volumes and some new shiny looking snap holds as well on the right. You wouldn't have touched many of these holds at all, mate, have you?
No, I haven't seen many of these holds, but I'm liking there's a lot of big macros, a lot of big holds, slopers, and then you're seeing a lot of crimps added on and jibs on the volumes as well. So the route setting's really 3D. All the volumes are adding extra dimensions to all that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all the climbers on these.
Great shout. And I think we're seeing that. I mean, we're not seeing the progression. The progression is really here where the climbing is becoming much more dynamic. We're seeing a lot more of those 3 dimensions that you're talking about, Jasper. So building out the walls. So from a route setting perspective, I was actually on the route setting team. So spent the last 3 days putting up boulders, bringing down boulders, testing boulders, thinking about athletes, and there's a whole lot of work that goes into that. So I'm really proud of the team, the route setting team, so a big shout out to them and Pat for leading us. Huge shout out to the homies at Boulder Lab as well, the people on the desk, and in general just all the spectators and people who bought a ticket. I think this year we had 400 competitors come into the space, and so we might even have 400 plus people looking at the finals at this moment out in Fetri Gully. So as we wait, I think I'm just going to run through a bit of housekeeping with those who are not really accustomed with climbing. So this might be your first time watching a competition. It might be your very first time even looking at some climbing. So essentially, the way our climbing system works is that you have a 4-point start. So there'll be 4 points of contact, so your 2 arms and your 2 legs that you have to put onto the wall, and then you establish a starting position. So as you can see here in the picture, you've got 4 pieces of green tape, 2 to the volume, 2 to that yellow hold, and you can put 4 limbs on those however you want. You establish a steady start position, and then you're on your way. You can also see a zone hold. Typically, it's in the middle. It's not really points, but you get an attempts to the zone and attempts to the top. So what's the goal here, Jasper? Ideally, how do you want to sort of be able to tackle these boulders?
Well, you want the most tops and the most zones. So the scoring goes tops, then zones. So 1 top is better than however many zones. And after that, go down to attempts. So attempts can be really important. So you'll hear the term flashing boulders, and that means they're doing it first try. And on the top, you've got to control and match with both your hands. You've got to control the boulders, you've got to control the start, control the zone, and then control the top.
Yeah, good shout. Good shout. So to summarize what Jasper's saying, if Jasper was in this comp and he got 4 zones and I got 1 top, I'm the winner.
Yeah.
Because I've got that top. So tops always prevail over the zones. And if you had the exact same tops and zones for an athlete, we go back to our qualification round that we've just had. So to give some context for the qualification round and how that worked, essentially there's a whole bunch of boulders scattered around the space, and athletes navigate their way to those boulders. They know the difficulty based on the tape that we used. That tape doesn't correspond to what you can see on the screen. For example, the easiest boulders we had in qualifications were taped with green, and then we went up to yellow, red, and black. And you were just trying to obviously flash all the boulders, so that's a term you might not have heard, but flashing a boulder is doing it on your first attempt, and that's ideally what you want. So it's a bit like golf. Get a hole in one, flash.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'll see the easier boulders, athletes will really want to flash them, but you get to the harder boulders, and just doing them is the main thing to get the points on the board. We've had a pump fest today. We've had over 40 boulders set throughout the whole gym, all different levels of difficulty. So all different climbers, different ages and abilities today. And it's been great.
Yeah, it's been a mega energy today. Everyone's getting very excited at this point. We've certainly upped the ante with the live stream this year. Shout outs to Josh and the team who have done an incredible job of getting everything ready. There's like a little sort of security van sitting out the back, and it's got all the gadgets and gadgets in it. And we're really proud of the setup. So very, very big thank you to the team. You're making us look really good.
Yeah, cameras are looking great. All the angles are set up. It's really, really professional.
I'm so pumped at this point, Jasper, honestly. and yeah, I'm just really keen to see the climbers getting out there.
I want to see how the athletes go. Yeah, it's going to be great. Going to see some great tops. Hope we see some really good fights.
We're going to jump through to some highlights of qualifications. So Jasper and I are going to jump out. We'll be giving you some more information when we get back on. And yeah, we'll be talking to you shortly. Thank you. All right, we are back. We are fast approaching the point where the climbers are going to come out and get to look at the boulders. So again, for those at home who aren't sure about this format, essentially the climbers are all sitting in a space that we call isolation. I think Victorians will have a bit of that's a bit of a trigger word for Victorians. So they're sitting in that space. They haven't seen the boulders yet. They're going to come out. They're going to have a look at the boulders, read them as a team, or I guess as individuals, but try and share some beta, so some ways in which you approach those climbs. They go back to isolation, and then they come out, and everyone has 4 minutes to tackle the boulders. Jasper, do you want to talk a bit about that time pressure and how that works, and I guess a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, well, this is the first time all these athletes seeing the problems. They're all unique. And they've got a bit of time to read it, to see how they're going to go about it. Then you get on the wall and you've got your 4 minutes, and you really got to figure it out because you've only got a few attempts where you're feeling as strong as you can be on that boulder. So you want to make sure in that time you get to read the route, that you do it properly, that you think of all the ways, think of what the route setters intended, how the route to be climbed, and even can think of beta breaks, so the way you might do it not the way the route setter wanted it to be climbed, and make it easier for yourself. And I think that we can see some great beta breaks on really hard problems.
Yeah, that's a great shout. So it's really a tactical sport we've got going on here. Obviously, your physical abilities are really important, but it is a very mental game as well, and that's why climbing is becoming one of the most popular sports worldwide. Just a quick shout out to some of our sponsors. So on the wall, we've got a whole bunch of new volumes that were made by Patrick Klein, who you can actually see walking there on stage. But as we pan over now, you can see some of the big new yellow Squadra holds that we've got in. They're fantastic. We've seen them on the World Cup circuit. Then to the right, some of the black holds are the Vesi holds that we've got coming through. So Friction Addiction helped us get them. Unparallel have had a store set up. getting people trying on shoes and talking about gear and all the rest of it. We've also had Happy Beaner, who stock a whole bunch of climbing apparel. And we've also had Chalk Up, who've been in the space, and then Aronite as well, run by Harry Buchanan. So it's been really cool to see sponsors come in and show up. They really add to the event and make it a place where you're not just coming for the climbing, but you're coming for some socialization and connection to the sport. So here we've got a bit more. There was a bit more wild footage there, but we're back at the crowd. Everyone's getting really amped. Everyone's got a bit of food in their belly. We've also had a food truck serving up some bagels and some drinks. These people have snagged the front seat of the house. It's where all the energy is. And we're fast approaching the start. We're very exciting.
Yeah, people have been getting in 15, 20, 30 minutes ago to get these front seats. I mean, those brushers and judges will have a front seat, so thanks to all of them as well, volunteering. Yeah, really filling up now, and I'm sure we're just going to see more and more people throughout the night as finals begin.
So I'm just gonna read out actually some of our finalists that we've got coming through. So I'm just gonna read out the females. Actually, I'm not, because I believe we're going to start and they're going to come out and I'll call them more officially. So I'm going to jump off now for a second. I'm going to let the camera do its thing and you enjoy that, and then we'll be back. So on the screen, you can see Mr. Stan Browning, one of the setters, quite an experienced setter, does a lot of comps around Australia. He was at MC last year. Stan's going to be helping announce all the athletes as they come out. And we're going to give you the names of the people that are coming out as well. All right. All right. Stan's announcing some of the athletes. I'm just going to be naming them off. So coming in at last place is Noemi La Eketsi, and then we have Anna Davey, Clea Hall, Judith Carroll, Claire Sheffings, and Maya Stazic. And from the boys, I'll hand over to you, Jasper.
Yeah, so we've got some of our male athletes running out now. We've got Riley Thurstons qualifying 6th, Jesse Rossini, Max Thomas, Sam Lavender, Dylan Soyne, and Dylan Parks.
So athletes are just showing themselves, getting ready to go. They're certainly going to be quite nervous. Bit of a yawn there from, I believe, Jesse Raffini. You spend quite a lot of time in isolation. I think it's over an hour. You're kind of just sitting in there warming up.
Yeah, it's been a while.
What's ISO like, Jasper?
Look, it's a good atmosphere. There's a lot of good climbers. It's quite fun in isolation, but you've got to make sure you get your timing right, warming up and all that. And so I believe the athletes are all going to have 2 minutes per boulder to have a read of the routes and find the right beta here. So you often see a lot of collaboration between athletes, very collaborative social sport climbing. So I'd love to see how they read and think they're going to go about doing the routes.
Yeah, that's right. So again, there's this really big preparation element to what's going on here. So sitting in isolation, I think you're not so much talking or communicating with other people, you're just going through your warm-up routine. But here we can see the athletes talking to each other. They all want to give each other a fair chance, which I think is quite unique about the sport. I believe on the World Cup circuits where you have obviously there's a lot of international athletes competing, that perhaps there's a bit of a language barrier there, so it's difficult to communicate. However, these athletes, most, I believe, are Australian. I believe there's one French athlete, which is Noemi. But here you can see people, we call it dancing when I'm coaching. You're doing the dance of the climb. You're trying to figure out the sequence. You're either confirming or denying what other people are saying. Do you reckon there could be some foul play, Jasper, of leading people astray with some beta? Would you do this?
Look, I don't think so, not intentionally, but you often see sometimes there might be a beta break, and then everyone tries to do that, and they actually can't replicate it as well as the original climber did. You can also see all the athletes, they're allowed to touch and hold the start holds as long as their feet don't come off the ground at the start. So you see them all taking turns to feel out the start and what the starting holds. I think on M1 you've got the big green volume. And on F1, which boulder
we're in the middle. We're in the middle of the comp hall. So we're close up on Maya Stazic here, youth athlete, went to Youth Worlds this year, used to train at Boulder Lab, getting some international coaching now, which is really exciting for her. You can see the lighting setup's pretty exciting here as well. Would you find that distracting?
Yeah, I haven't really been in an atmosphere where the lighting's been as cool as this per se, but I think it is distracting, but I think when you're climbing, you're just in the flow state. You're focused on the climbing, and you can see athletes all going to the next boulders now. So they're 2 minutes on the first boulder has gone up. The men moving on to M2, which is this black boulder.
That's right. So men's boulder number 2 is quite a powerful jumping style of climbing. So it's what we refer to as a paddle move. So ideally the athletes are jumping from this starting position and they're paddling through that first hold you can see at the top left of your screen, and then it's pushing them through and guiding them into the zone hold, which is to the right. So again, just to remind people who may have joined a bit late, there's 4 points of contact you have to establish to start in that position. So if you don't prove to the judge that you're in a stable and steady starting position, you're not going to be awarded that start, and it counts as an attempt. And as Jasper was saying before, your attempts really do matter. So a lot of the training that these athletes do is trying to flash boulders. So if they were at their commercial gym and they're just going around the circuits in the gym, realistically they're trying to flash the boulders and be as efficient as possible and put themselves in this training scenario. So trying to simulate the climbing experience.
Yeah, I would say this paddle boulder looks quite powerful. Going to really have to spring up at the start. So if you get a nice establishment on the first of the holds, then you're going to be in a lot better position to grab that zone. You're going to want your hips to be really doing that pendulum to really provide you with the momentum to stick the zone hold and not overdo it and then come fly into the mats.
That's right. So the paddle boulders are the ones where you're seeing this more modern movement, really dynamic, really fast. We talk a lot about contact strength in climbing, so the ability to make good contact where you need to in the right position and also land in the correct position once you get there on this next zone hold. Again, this is quite advanced climbing movement. You don't see a whole lot of this in commercial climbing facilities. So again, really exciting that we get to see these athletes push themselves on these boulders. We're moving on now to the viewing of the third boulder. So the boys go to the slab. This is our balancy style of climbing. Jasper, you have a lot to say about this. This is your style of climbing.
Yeah, I love slab. It's very technical. You got to really place your feet well and trust your feet. So I really enjoy slab climbing. I think it's one of the best aspects of climbing. But you can also see the women are now reading the power boulder, or what looks as though the power boulder. It's in a steeper part of the wall. The moves there's big gaps between the moves. It looks quite physical, quite shouldery. So that's really, I mean, we've got a lot of strong climbers in this final, so I'd be very interested to see how they go on this very physical moves.
Yeah, it's interesting being in the testing period as we're setting and thinking about the level. I've not been setting as long as some of the more senior setters on our team. And it was a great experience for me to understand what the level is. So how hard do we expect the women to be able to pull on a power boulder like this? How well do we expect the men to be able to stand on their feet on the slab? Typically, the women are much better at slab than the men. Which is quite interesting. And then obviously the men have a bit of that, they're a little bit stronger than the women, so they have more physical, powerful boulders. Nonetheless, we get a good spread between. So essentially, both males and females will have like a slab boulder, then there'll be kind of a power-oriented, exciting boulder. There's some form of coordination, so needing to so the paddle boulder is the form of coordination for the men. And then we'll have just some other random boulder that we throw into the mix of that as well.
I think a big aspect of a lot of these top-class comp boulders is they're really committing. You've got to fully commit to all the moves, and that is the only way to do them. So you've got to tell yourself, yeah, I'm gonna stick that crimp. You can't just decide, I'm gonna jump off the wall, because then you end up, you've burnt an attempt, you've only got 2 minutes on the clock, and you're really quite tired. So you've got to make sure every attempt counts. And you can see the men reading this M4. It's just in the top of your screen, but that looks like quite a shouldery press up off a big starting hold.
Yeah, good read there from you, Jasper, actually. So essentially you start with 4 points of contact on the volume there. So you're going to be jumping up, grabbing that jug, bringing your feet up and tapping them on the start hold. And then you're doing a big swing. And your right arm is shooting right up into another hold above you, and one of the athletes is showing that. So they're showing you the move now: right hand up and left palm down. We can't currently see the female boulder. We might be able to get over to that soon. You can see it in front of us now. So this is quite a tricky boulder. I'm really interested to see how the females go on this one. This incorporates so many different styles. You've got this kind of technical bunch start where you pop out to quite a big hold, and you're going to use your momentum off that swing to jump back into the volume and pop out to that zone hold there. I just think this boulder looks really hard. I mean, what are you feeling from that, Jasper?
Looks hard. There's a big distance between that first hold after you get that start move, which Maya's just read there, to then go and get into that paddle to the zone, what it looks like, and then another big move to that top hold. So it looks like it's going to be quite momentum-based, quite powerful. I'm looking forward to seeing how they go on that. That's a cool boulder.
It's certainly an exciting boulder. And I think that what you were saying before, Jasper, about this idea of risk and commitment, it's certainly going to be really important on this boulder to commit to that first jump and commit all your energy going forward into those next 2 holds and thinking really critically about like where your hips need to end up, where do my hips need to go. I know that Shauna Coxey, who is a climber from Great Britain, talks a lot about hips. She's been on the commentary for the World Cups, and she non-stop talks about your hips being one of the most important things to think about as a climber and to focus on to understand climbing movement.
I believe all the athletes are heading back into isolation now. Is that right?
Yes, so the athletes have had their viewing now. They're going to go back into isolation. So just to check on my list, the first athlete we'll have out for the females is going to be Noemi Laeketsi. And then from the men, Jasper?
We're going to have Riley Thurston's out first for the men.
Jasper and I know quite little about most of the athletes, interestingly. We've had quite a busy day, so it's been tricky to get around and have a chat to them. Who we do know is, from the females, Claire Sheffings and Maya Stazik. So I mentioned before that Maya used to train at Boulder Lab. Claire is a coach, is an athlete that competes for Boulder Lab and has just sort of left the youth climbing circuit and entering the open age circuit. And Maya is smashing her way through the youth climbing scene and will hopefully be one of the stronger climbers in the future to come. So, yeah, really exciting.
Okay, we're getting our first climbers out here now. I believe M1 is on the left of the wall, and then F1 is down the middle.
All right, so time's on. So to convey a little bit of info about the time, climbers have 4 minutes. If they get onto the boulder, so you're watching this male climbing, he pulls onto, he's not quite up yet and established his start. Now he's established. If the 4 minutes finished, he would be able to keep going and continue the climb.
Yeah, so seeing Riley pressing into that second volume stacked. He's got his feet up now. Nice.
This boulder is going to be one of those ones where you sort of got to wrestle your way through it. It's quite complex to figure out how to get into the right positions. You can see his left leg is really pushing against his chest. You've got to be really powerful in your legs to press up. Making really good progress here, though.
So he's got the zone. He's established on this top part of the climb. What looks like it's going to be quite a delicate top. Yeah, he slipped off. Whoa.
So you see, again, there's just tiny little things you have to do with your feet, your body position, to make sure that you're not going to fall off. So again, competition climbing is all about this high risk element, making sure that the climbers are continually tested as soon as they pull onto the boulder. So in our testing phase, we're always thinking, where is the climber feeling comfortable here? Where can we promote more risk from that? Hopefully we'll get over to see the female boulder as well. Noemi has not managed to get to the next part. I think she's struggling to establish the starting position. This was the boulder that me and some of the other team members actually set. So this was a boulder I was a part of. So you've got this really intense pressing move at the start. So you're pressing against that crescent moon. You've got to be really strong in the shoulders. And then you're trying to pop down really quickly to that other crescent down to your right.
Okay, so here she goes onto the pink crescents. She's established now. Whoa.
Just missing the feet there. So again, probably needing to make better use of the higher profile of the volume. However, if you're not tall enough, it's going to be really hard to press into that position. I think trying to push your knee over your toe and really force your toe down into the volume is going to be really important for this boulder, and moving fast through this motion downwards. So I think this again is a bit of a wrestle for the females on this boulder, and it'll just be about finding that right position.
So we've got Riley again getting established on M1. He's got the zone once more.
He's back to the zone. You can see his ankle flexing quite intensely.
Nice.
And palming down, doing really well.
Very good shoulder press there. High feet, flexible climbing, and a drop knee there. Very impressive by Riley.
Wow, this is looking very exciting. So this is quite a risky section. Got to
just a top move here, and he's got to control the match. Nice.
We've got our first top.
So first top of the round going to Riley Thurston's. Very good climbing.
That was really good climbing. I feel like you're going to have a particular size suiting that position at the top of the boulder. We saw his leg coming back and pushing off that zone hold, and that really helped him to get into that right position. We might be able to see a replay of the top here. That right leg is not pressing on the volume, but it's flagging upwards. It's bouncing him out, and then he manages to top the hold there.
Yeah, so in climbing, we often talk about the box climbers can fit in, and so how small of a box, and then how explosive you can be out of that box. And so the more flexible climbers can often fit into a smaller box, and sometimes that's really good for problems. Other times, having a bigger box where you can span and reach more is very useful.
We saw Naomi make some good progress there. She got her way to the second crescent, just missed her footing. So another challenge with this climb is going to be managing your skin. Sorry, just back to the time element here. She's established, so if she goes to the top now, it counts. However, it's somewhat unlikely, given that she hasn't had the chance to get to these next positions, and just misses there with a foot slip. Big shout out from the crowd here.
So we see that foot slip again, and that's where that brushing from Lockie and Lockie comes in very useful. Make sure the volumes stay grippy, the holds stay fresh for all the climbers.
We got the two Boulder Lab boys there on number one,
yeah,
the two Lockies.
It's great.
So Anna Davey here on female one, making quick. Oh, okay, she's come off. And the males, who have we got?
We've got Jesse Raffini for the men, and he's over on the green boulder. Hasn't started just yet, but I think we're about to see him get on it.
It's interesting. You see from climbers very different approaches in terms of the pace that they take to get out onto the boulders. So, for example, we've seen Anna Davey get out. She's really confident. She's getting on the boulder straight away. She wants to move quickly. Jesse took a little bit more of a slow approach to it, and I think that's because he knows that you're not going to be able to put in a whole lot of attempts on this one because it is quite physical with the wrestle at the start. However, these athletes are super strong. You might judge wrong in terms of how much they've got to give and how many attempts they can put in, but looking quite solid here at the top.
And Jesse on the zone now on his flash attempt. I wonder if we're going to see the same flexible beta we saw from Riley.
Yeah, good shout. So again, like we were talking about, if you can get your right leg up, it puts you in a really good position to press through. He's opting for his right hand to stay back on the zone, however, sort of backtracking a bit. Getting the two hands over to the left on the green volume, trying to lengthen himself out and wedge himself in this position more comfortably.
He's been on the boulder for a while now, so I'm sure he'll be getting tired. Palms a bit sweaty, but here he goes, making good progress. Very nice. Bit of a pistol squat on that green volume. And he matches the top, so we have a second top on M1.
Now, this is interesting because we've got two of the men who qualified in 5th and 6th place. So realistically, there's 4 more climbers who performed better in qualifications to come. Now, we could make the assumption that this boulder is essentially, it needs to be topped by these 4 people now. So for those sitting in isolation, and then Jesse's going to be going back to isolation quite quickly where there's a lot of time left. So it puts the pressure on the next athletes. So as someone qualifying in last place, it's actually really important for you to just go out and give it everything and put the pressure on the top places.
Yeah, I mean, we say isolation to keep athletes isolated, but they can hear the crowd noise. They're going to see when an athlete comes back within their 4 minutes because they've topped the boulder. So if you're Dylan Parks, who's coming out last, you've heard 2 people have already topped M1. There's maybe been a flash, which there has been by Jesse Raffini, and Riley Thurston's got through it quite quickly. So you're going to go out there, you're going to know it's a doable problem, but if you find yourself slipping off a bit, you're going to be a bit nervous there, I'd say.
Yeah, and again, when you've got these high-risk boulders, there's always that thing going through your head of, how do I do this? How can I stay in this steady position and work through this problem? So, back to the women's now. Anna has been making progress to the next crescent. However, she's not quite finding the right position to throw over to the next yellow hold. It's actually a multicolored hold on your screen. It's changing from a lot of different colors. But again, reaching out, going for the press method here with the right hand, which I don't think is going to hold her there. You just see her coming off.
Yeah, I mean, we've had both athletes struggling on the start of this first women's climb. You get the inclination it's a hard one, Trent. Might be a good one to separate the athletes, see who's got that strength on this start and this compression strength, really.
Yeah, that's a good shout. It's interesting. We've got the polar opposite on the boulders here. We've got 2 men who have come out and topped it. And then we've got Anna and Noemi, who are struggling to get to the zone. So at this point, if you haven't been able to make much progress at the start, instead of really pushing to try and get to the top, realistically, you're trying to push hard to get to a zone at least. But I think the time's going to run out here, and Anna's going to give it one more attempt. But likely, she's going to struggle.
Anna's got
with this
one more
jump.
attempt here. Goes to that yellow hold again, doesn't make it. So we're seeing the start of this women's Boulder 1 as quite hard. Haven't seen any athletes get out to the yellow yet. I think we have Clea Hall being the next athlete on women's Boulder 1. And we're seeing her approach the boulder now.
And then I believe we've got Max Thomas coming out for the men. In terms of the beta and the sequence we're looking for on this boulder as setters, we're trying to get you to come in right hand and roll over really fast with the left hand. It's quite a powerful move. It's really electric when you start making that crossover and you slap the left hand onto the big yellow hold. But clearly a very difficult hold to hold onto, that crescent. So yeah, like you say, Jasper, hopefully it gives us a good split with the athletes, and we can, as we go up the ladder or the rankings for the qualifications, we'll see people getting closer to the zone and the top.
Yeah, it looks like quite a compression on both these crescents. So you see the start pressing upwards and down with your feet, and then we've also seen some athletes press against that second pink crescent. So here goes Clea, pressing.
We're back to the men's boulder now. Max has just had a foot slip. We've got our brusher, Dan Gauchi, youth competitor in Victoria, giving it a good brush. He'll know firsthand how important it is to make sure that you've got as good friction as you can on these volumes. The angle is quite strange. It's not really clear how to find the right position. You've kind of got to wrestle with it, and you've got to really trust your feet here. So you don't have this ability to really pull super hard. You've got to make sure that you're really steady on the feet and squeezing with your core.
Great angle this to see all those volumes on volumes on volumes, make it very 3D. Quite hard to get a heel up, so it's really throwing you off the roll. But you see Max wrapping the top of that volume, and that can often help to get a better grip of it. So wrap it over the top or underneath it, and that's very useful technique.
It looked like he just rushed the heel on that last attempt. He didn't quite have the crimp before he was trying to get his heel up. I think it's really important that your feet are the thing that you're thinking about most here to establish that steady position, as I've been saying. So hopefully Max can just take a moment here to relax, and then he's going to move into his next attempt and really go as hard as he can.
Yeah, both athletes resting, which is good to see. You really need to rest in between attempts to maximize how well you can climb. And a little downturned heel to establish there by Max. Here he goes.
Those volumes
Yeah,
do
gets
look
on the
great.
crimp. Here we go. It's an awkward move up to the zone hold. Really got to rock over. And another foot pop. So those volumes, harder than they look to fully commit and stand up on.
It's just so hard being that really crouched position where your knees up at your chest. If you think about how you jump, you start with your legs extended, you get a really strong bend, and then you can swing your arms up and get out of it. On that boulder, your hands are facing down and your feet are really cramped. Oh, yeah.
Clea sticks the move.
Well done. So like I said, a really electric, powerful move. Just committing, jumping, being dynamic. She's made the zone, so she will be awarded the zone for that there. And got to keep it steady.
Nice rock up on the heel by Clea. She's looking good here. A first athlete to get truly established on the first women's climb. Goes to the top. Matches. We have our first top on women's 1.
That's super exciting. She'll be really stoked with that because I think she knows that the other women who came out already didn't top the boulder. So she had a big smile on her face. Hopefully we can see a replay of that one on the jump or the top. That would be fantastic. And then we'll be getting back into Max shortly, probably.
Yeah, amazing to see a top on women's 1. So first one we've had, and those athletes in isolation will now know it's toppable, it's doable. Go out there and it can be done.
It's really exciting as a route setter to know that your boulder has been topped by at least one person. It means that you've made the right decision.
Max has got established
pushing
on the volume.
He is going to fight really hard for this now. He knows his time's out. He knows this is the only attempt he's got. So he can actually almost he can't take his time. He doesn't have all the energy in the world up there, but he's really going to fight to get this top here.
Gets that left foot out, pressing into that blue zone hold.
This is really impressive from him. There's so much pressure on him right now, knowing that his time's out. If he can top this,
oh, he's looking
it's gonna
calm
be
here.
Mega for his confidence going forward. He is looking calm, reaching down to that volume, just trusting the feet, moving really slowly. This is impressive.
Really good climbing. Nervous match, and he's done it.
Done.
So just another one of our male athletes to get a top, and that's a great confidence booster going through the rest of the round.
I'm really impressed with that. I would argue that's the best top we've seen so far. To have the time buzzer go on you, for you to really push through it, to trust in yourself, to take a moment, I think that's really impressive climbing from Max. He'll be really stoked with that.
And this is Sam Lavender on the green M1. So see what he can do on his flash attempt.
And then we've got Judith Carroll on female 1. I will say that Sam looked very strong in qualifications. He flashed a lot of the qualies boulders, maybe slightly undercooked for the boys. They're looking very strong today. But Sam just climbs. He climbs so beautifully. He makes things look really easy. He looks very calculated as he comes through, as you can see here, and really good in his feet. I noticed that his ankle flexibility was kind of wild today when he was climbing. I was really impressed. Oh, trying to use his length yet there and stay lower on the volume, but kind of slipping out.
Yeah, I think we've seen all the athletes so far to do that go up with their right hand, haven't we? Or fully stand on the foot and do it in a bit more static, I'd say.
Yes, I believe that the key for the other athletes is to get both your feet up onto the volume, or at least your left foot quite high so you can reach out to that left hand. Sam is quite a bit taller than the other boys, at least half a head to a head taller. So as you can see, really low on the volume with the left foot here in the replay, reaching up and just flinging out. So I think one of the most important parts of comp climbing is correcting yourself. So making sure that you're learning constantly from the movement, and that's what's really impressive about these athletes, is their ability to try something, to fail on it, and then to learn from it, and then try again on the next one and hopefully do better. So let's see how Sam goes.
Great angle of our whole comp wall here. Big crowd in. All the boulders are lined up. So Sam going at it again here. Looks so strong. They're just floating, really. Sticks it.
Wow, he only just hung on there. He used the right hand to sort of balance himself out as he was taking the swing. This is a very interesting angle right here. We're seeing Sam, we're seeing the proper angle of those volumes, seeing how they completely change the angle of that overhanging section. It's only slight. He's just creeping up and he's topped it.
Wow, he looks so controlled on the top. He just didn't hesitate. We've seen a lot of athletes experiment with different beta. He's obviously read it one way, and he's just committed to that. Just another top on M1. So we've seen all the athletes top it so far. So a couple more to come out now, and I think they'd be feeling as if, yeah, it's a toppable boulder to start off the round.
Interestingly, I spoke to Dylan Parks just before he went into isolation, and Dylan Parks has qualified in first place. He's not out next, he's out a bit later, and I asked him how he's feeling, and he said he was very nervous, which is interesting because when you're coming out last, there's this perception that you're the best, right? You've qualified in first place, but it's not necessarily the case in climbing. You're in the six, you're going into finals, it's your fight. So it's your time to prove yourself and try harder than the other athletes or out-climb them, essentially.
Yeah, and Judith getting quite close to this movement here. Really learning the movement. We saw Cleo when she topped it. She pinched both the crescents, interestingly. We're seeing Judith trying to do a bit more as a paddle. And a bit more... Oh, she's had a slip there, but she's really trying to go dynamically. And I think we saw Clea use a bit more power to start with, and she did go dynamically in the end, but did a very powerful double pinch on both those pink crescents.
Yeah, I think the problem with launching from so far away is that your hips end up being very far behind you. So as we saw when Clea went up this boulder, she takes this massive swing, and so if you think about a big wrecking ball, the higher you pull it out, the longer it's going to swing the other way. So Judith not quite able to get at this boulder, finding it really difficult to get through that second move. And now we're on to our next athletes.
Yeah, so these athletes qualified in second in our Pump Fest. Got Dylan Soyne on M1. I think on your screen is Claire Sheffing's first Victorian climber, Claire, we've had out. So a bit of a crowd favourite potentially. And she has, once again, on the first attempts and the first few attempts, the women on these boulders, it's really, must be quite a hard movement to figure out. Really got to learn the movement at the start, I feel here.
I think you're right there, Jasper, and I think it's about, like what you said before, really committing to the movement. So if you're not willing to really press your shoulders in here, we can actually see that Claire's shoulders taped up. So maybe this move is not actually going to suit her as much, especially when that right hand comes out and slaps on that other crescent, and you need to really pull hard with it to get to that next hold.
Got Dylan Soyne keeping his feet on the volume for as long as possible there, conserving energy. That's great technique. I'm seeing him rock up. The hips really close to the volume, aren't they?
Knee over toe, classic technique.
Oh,
that I try and
fighting.
teach. Yeah, this is a good fight here. He's really tucked in. I think he's got his left hand to the wrong spot. It's not quite high enough. He's really bunched in. He's doing a great job at fighting through this, though.
He's adjusted well. He's standing up. Oh, wow. Gets the zone. So I wonder how Dylan's read the top of this boulder. We've seen a lot of different ways to do it. Looks like he's going to match on it, is it? No, he's changing it up a bit now.
It's quite cryptic, and the reason being is that you've got these big flat surfaces. There's plenty of space where you can put your feet. Same with the hold that he's on. You can go high, you can go low. It's going to change the way that you transition through to that next volume and the last part of the sequence. Whereas if you had a foot chip on the volume, you're guiding the athletes a bit too much, and that's not what we want to do as setters in these kind of situations. We want to make them choose. We want to make them guess about where's the best way to do this, how is the best way to get through it. So he's in this pressing position now. It's likely that he'll maybe switch his feet and get that right foot up, or is he going to just rock over?
Yeah, impressive movement here by Dylan, but he's going to really have to press out of it and move that right foot up somehow.
Might be too tricky to bring the left foot down. It looks like he's going to try and stand up and press completely.
Wow.
Yeah, that's you can see him.
Very nice.
Yeah, pushing his hips deep into that corner there. Probably going to reach down to the volume and try and push that knee over the toe again. A similar move to the start.
We see him. He's getting established on that final volume. Taking it really nice and slow. Very technical here. Impressive. Just another top on M1.
That's good for Dylan. To get a flash on that, that's going to give him a little bit of an edge over the other athletes. For example, if he ends with the same amount of tops as another athlete, hypothetically, I'm not saying Dylan's going to be there, but if he does the same amount of tops as someone else with the least amount of attempts, it puts himself in a better position.
Yeah, so we saw Claire using those real pinches or side pulls, I guess, compression between both the crescents and getting quite close to the jump. I think maybe that's a key bit of beta that not all climbers have utilised.
Looking a little bit frustrated there. She's probably feeling like she can't quite find the right position. Perhaps not feeling as strong to pull through into that position. This is a moment where she needs to just take a big deep breath, chalk up, really think about what she needs to do and correct her positioning, and then try and move strongly to that next hold. You want a drink? All right, we've got our last athletes now, Dylan Parks and Maya Stazik. Maya is an ex-Boulder Lab climber. She's our representation for Victoria. Thank God we've got some Victorians in here. And then Dylan Parks as well, I believe from New South Wales.
Yeah, both these athletes, really strong youth climbers. Both of them attended the Youth World Championships earlier this year. Both of them made semi-finals. I believe Dylan came 9th. And I think Maya narrowly missed out on finals and she's really cruising this. Great to see.
She made light work of that jump. And look at that. That's so exciting. She did that exactly the way that we intended with the jump at the end. A really exciting, powerful finish. She's really proving herself different to the other parts of the field right now. We're seeing a lot of people struggling to even establish a starting position, and Maya was able to just cruise through that. She made light work of that. Less than 30 seconds, I think.
Yeah, first flash we've seen on it as well. Often the only top of it we saw came very late in the time period from Clea. So really impressive by Maya. She's set a benchmark for the rest of the competition, I think, with that flash.
That's a good shout, Jasper. Again, if you can get a flash on a boulder, it really separates yourself from the other parts of the field. We're seeing Dylan. I'm not sure how many attempts Dylan's put into this one. We're just through about a minute, struggling getting around this volume. Again, like I mentioned before, Dylan said he was quite nervous. Obviously, got a lot going through his head, qualifying in first place. It puts this expectation on him to really perform. But nonetheless, this is the last climber out on the first boulder, and then we're going to channel through into boulder number 2, which I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dylan is a very experienced competition climber. He's done a lot of competing. He competes at a very high level. He's competed at some IFSC World Championships. So he's a experienced competitor. I think you can see him smiling there. That really reduces the nerves. Bit of interaction with the crowd. You see some of the best climbers. They're not necessarily the best because they're the best at climbing. They're the best because they can handle themselves so well under the competition pressure. They're calm and collected. They don't get bothered over a few foot slips. And I think it's just great to see them smiling and really enjoying themselves out there.
That's a great call, Jasper, and I've got to give you a shout out here, mate, to talk about your performance at Youth Nationals earlier this year on the lead route, coming in 3rd place. I've always said that you've got a great head game, and I really believe that pushed you to that spot. So yeah, that's a great shout from you. Good experience coming out and the way you're talking about this.
Dylan's got the zone now. He's holding the zone a bit differently. Goes straight into a press, and now he's established into this tricky position. I'd say it hasn't been easy. We've seen everyone top it, but there's been a bit of just changing beta, switching beta, but Dylan's made short work of that, getting the left foot up. Confident climbing.
There's certainly this fear element here. You're really high up. You don't want to fall. Dylan's really close to topping this now. I think he's just getting really steady in the end position. And there he goes.
So all male climbers have topped that. Interesting. And then we see only 2 of the female climbers topping women's 1. So, I mean, these next 3 climbs for the men are going to be really important. But if you're Clea or Maya, you're going to be in a great position going into the next 3 boulders.
Yeah, interestingly for the females, like you said, Jasper, Clea and Maya are going to feel really good going to the next boulder. They've got a top above all the other women, so that means they've got a little bit of an edge over them for these next boulders. However, with the men, it's almost like there's a bit of a clean slate. So if everyone's topped the boulder, we kind of start fresh again. And this next boulder is going to sort of give us a bit more separation. So out now, we've got Noemi, and then we've got Riley. Is it?
Yeah, Riley. So the women's boulder is a slab boulder on these red holds, and then off camera is the men's boulder, which is a paddle on some big black slopers, I believe.
Big smiles from Noemi there, which is great. She just had a little bit of a fall before. She's going to recover and get back on the boulder. We've got quite a technical toe hook start here. It's really important to get your hips close into the wall and establish this starting position, which she does there. And then it's quite a dynamic movement out of this position where you're going to drop your leg down into the volume and essentially try and slap your hand and catch into that position. Really exciting boulder in testing. Got a lot of love from all the setters. Really exciting boulders. So hopefully we can see them get to the end where we've got quite an exciting finish. We're probably going to see less action consistently from the men on boulder number 2. We're into this paddle climb. It's very powerful. You've got to pull on in this quite tricky position and just go really powerfully to the next hold. You can also lose a lot of skin if you scrape your way through the next one. So let's see how Riley goes here.
Loading up. That's quite good. He's channeling the movement there. He's in the right place. So it's interesting to see the climbers learn the movements, definitely. You see them really progress over the 4 minutes.
It's just a testament to them. I mean, a big part of it's not to say that these climbs are at their absolute limit. If you gave these people an hour to do all these climbs, I guarantee that a lot of them would do them. But this time element of 4 minutes, it puts that pressure on. It tells the climber you've only got a certain amount of time and attempts to get in. So I feel like Riley needs to put himself closer to the wall for the catch here. Just not quite getting himself over there. Maybe losing a little bit of power as well. I think Riley's one of the shorter athletes from the men right now. I don't think it gives him a disadvantage, but I'm just saying that he just needs to be a bit more springy and powerful.
Oh, nice.
Making good work of that first move. And now we start in this fast position. You're steady,
No
and then you
hands.
go fast again, and now we're in the no hands slow. Just missing the press hold there, which is the zone. Our volunteer brushers doing absolute incredible work there. Shout out to you, Dan Gauchi and Lockie Moore.
Yeah, we got a lot of the other Boulder Lab youth athletes. And again, so Naomi has really learnt the movement. It's really impressive. As hopefully she can press into that zone hold now on this no-hand slab. Very technical, got to trust your feet. And the volumes are quite slopey, so you've got to push your heel down as well. And she's got close there. Maybe moving a bit too dynamic. What would you say, Trent?
I would say that she needs to really make sure her left shoulder stays in quite a straight position. She needs to trust that her lean into the wall is going to be steady because that left foot is going to stay there. And again, here's this risk element playing into the athlete's mentality. It obviously feels like you're going to fall in that position. You're not super high up. However, there's always the possibility you can have a funny fall. So I don't think either athlete is going to have made it to the zone here.
I think interestingly about this men's paddle boulder, a paddle on those big slopers, that's really going to drain your skin. And all the athletes will have 2 more boulders to try after that. They've all done a Pump Fest qualification early in the day or the morning. And even for myself, just doing the Pump Fest, the skin on my fingertips is quite thin. So I'm sure athletes got to be a bit strategic here on conserving their skin, making sure they rest between attempts. You've got to make sure every attempt is really good, really dialed in.
I think climbing must be one of the only sports where you have to really focus on your skin. So there's this funny statement some comp climbers make. I was talking to a friend who was talking about the competition this weekend, which was on Monday, and he said, I've got a bit of skin to grow back in these next couple of days. So essentially he's saying he's going to do some light climbing, tape up, make sure his skin's nice and healthy, whilst you're also making sure that you're physically ready for the competition as well. Just seeing Anna here hit the toe hook start, and she's established. Let's see if she can move through this first move. She's close there. I feel like she needs to pull a little bit more with her left toe. Sorry, we just got the crowd getting a bit riled up there. I believe
Jesse's sticking the paddle there. Well, not quite sticking it, but he got really close. So it's good to see as we get to climbers who qualified higher in qualification, make a bit more progress on this climb. This climb, a bit harder for the men. Obviously, they haven't all topped it. We've had Riley came out, couldn't get the move. So this could act as a bit more separator for the competition. Tell us who's having a good day today. Really dialed into their, for this climb, coordination.
Yeah, good shout, Jasper. I think that Jesse needs to really focus up and like we're talking about, is just make sure he dials in that movement and make sure he learns how to correct himself on his next attempt. We didn't see him get close to the next one. Hopefully we can get some camera on him now as he's going for his next attempt. A great angle here to see the jump. Oh, made light work
And he
of
sticks
that.
it.
He looked like he was floating there. I don't know whether that was a bit of a glitch in our connection. However, he looked like he just slowed it right down. Maybe getting a knee bar in here. Oh, and he just came off the top. That is devastating. So here's this moment where you have to choose how you're going to react to that. You can see in the replay here, he gets the undercling, he doesn't quite have the foot in the right spot, and he fiddles around with it, and it slips off, and then he's out. Again, delicate, risky, committing, and we're seeing Anna commit to that move here and starting her way across the volume.
Yeah, so Anna's got onto this movement now. How she's going to go about this press. Looks dynamic. She's winding up a bit here, or not? Bit more static now.
Interestingly, her foot is quite high up on the volume there. I'd be opting to have it lower of the corner so you can make the most of the angle that volume actually creates. Therefore, you can push your chest closer into the wall and have a better chance of holding this press position. Quite hesitant on the feet here. Not quite making it really close though. Slowed the movement down quite well to the end there.
I think it's a bit of an awkward position there. Wall's pushing you out a bit. And I think of these tactics, we now see Anna going straight on it again, and that's a bit of a contrast. So you've obviously got Jesse. He's probably decided to rest until it's about 5 seconds to go. Then he's going to establish. He's going to give it one more crack to the top. As you saw, Anna just had another attempt. Really, anything goes. If you know that you can put in a lot of attempts and that's how you climb the best, you got to stick with that.
Wow, Jesse had some incredible shoulder strength and mobility there to hold that position. The timer's going to go off. He's just going to block that out of his mind. He knows he's gotten to the top before. I quite like the 4+ element, as in you finish up your 4 minutes, and if you're on the boulder, you can still finish. He's in a steadier position.
Here he goes.
Pressing. Oh, and he doesn't quite get it.
Wow, so as route setters, did you intend the match on the dual text, Trent, or were you going for a match on the undercling?
No, I believe what he needed to do was try and sort of drop his knee in a little bit more on the right foot and get into this pressing position. It's quite a fast movement to get there. Again, it's quite committing, similar to the women's boulder, where you're pressing into the wall and trusting that foot. And Jesse really needed to trust his feet a little bit more. So maybe he was tired though. So after doing a big paddle move like that, his shoulders might have been quite tired. So doing that press move becomes quite tricky. And we've got Max Thomas out now and Clea Hall.
Yeah, so Clea and Maya were the only two women to top that first boulder, so I'm sure Clea's feeling confident going into this slab. And interestingly, with the men, we're now seeing a bit of a split on this boulder, separating people. We've seen Jesse get the zone. Riley wasn't able to stick the paddle here. So this boulder might prove a pivotal one for the rest of the competition.
Yeah, good shout. Max has put in 2 attempts now. He looks like he's finding it hard to generate and be powerful enough to push himself outward. But we'll see how he goes in those next attempts. Again, this learning element playing a big part in this comp.
Clea's on the slab now. Goes dynamic up to stand on the foot.
Making good work of that toe hook at the start, being able to elevate herself and get out. This is great.
Different beta there to put up the right foot on the red, and she's now got the zone.
Oh, wow, just a foot slip. Need to give that a brush. She's smiling. She knows she can do it. She just needs to stay in a good head game and get back on that boulder when she's ready.
She has got the zone, so that's... Other 2 athletes couldn't do that. So, again, she's having a good comp. She's really she's having a good day, and look, when you're in a competition, you have good cycles of climbing. You send the first boulder, you feel good on the next boulder, and you just keep going. We're just seeing Max. Max has stuck the paddle here.
I love that move back into the first hold you generate off. I think that's really cool. Getting the right hand up, just finding it hard to stay in that position there. Maybe that's a flexibility thing there, a mobility issue, where it's really hard to roll up through that. Max looks a little bit annoyed with that. I think he's tired. He's kind of huffing a little bit. He knows he put in a lot of effort. But now we're back to Clea on the slabs. So she's going to want to try and keep it together. She knows how close she was. She just had a little foot slip that was out of her control.
Clea looking good there. Right foot high up on that red hold, which athletes started with the toe hook. And that's something we haven't seen from the other 2 climbers, but the volume's proving slippery.
Was she awarded the zone on her last attempt? I'm not quite sure, because just then
She doesn't quite control the position. The feet were coming out, but I think she did get the zone on her last attempt.
I would have thought she did from the attempt prior to that.
Yeah.
But she's looking good. I think she'll still have confidence that she can get back to the zone and have a good crack at the top in this last minute.
Getting up close and personal with the volume here and making a bit of a game plan going forward. Again, it's just a really risky position. Interestingly, those volumes have so much fresh texture on them. They're new. They were made like just a couple of weeks ago. So honestly, it's the best state for them to be in, with lots of texture and trust smearing on that volume.
Ooh.
Wow. That's a bit of skin coming off there, I think.
Yeah, these paddles are draining. Very physical, very intense on the skin. And you can see that Max has learnt the movement. It's just that's under the time pressure, only 4 minutes, only a few attempts. It's a real battle.
And I think the key learning element there was just going a little bit slower to the first hold, trying to actually hang on to it with more locked arms and being able to pull yourself through to the next hold. Max's hit the paddle again.
Both
He's
Clear
going a
and
different
Max in
way.
extra time here. You can see Clear just in the corner of your screen.
That's an intense shoulder move there and a really high foot that you've got to roll up through here. I think Max is tired, Clear's off. Great effort from her. I hope she's happy to at least get the zone and carry that energy through into the next boulder. And Max just not quite strong enough to get up there. A well set boulder, I think. Not a gimme at the top whatsoever. Still challenging the athlete, making them work hard for it. So let's see if our athletes, our first, second, and third qualifying athletes, can make some work on these boulders.
Yeah, no one has topped either of these boulders yet, so Judith setting up for the slab. Gets a toe hook first try. I don't think we've seen many athletes get it on the flash attempt yet, so that's very impressive.
She looked really bouncy, like she could just like jump really easily to that position. I think she's a little bit taller, so maybe it helps her to get into that position. I believe Judith is an ex-ninja athlete, which gives her that edge with these new dynamic movements. Nonetheless, got to be tested on these more technical boulders and start trusting these feet.
Yeah, she hasn't quite got her right foot up on that red hold like Clear did, but I'm sure you can still make it work with the position.
That was close. You saw her right leg kind of wrap around her torso back towards the floor. We've also seen Sam Lavender hit the paddle movement. Again, a taller athlete, maybe getting a bit of an advantage at this top part, or maybe you want to be a little bit smaller to get in that position. He's very locked off on the left here. He's rolling up. He's just eyeing off that top hold, looking very calm and just taking his time in this position. He's still got 2.5 minutes.
He's got the top hold. Matches. First top on M2. Very impressive by Sam. Physical bunched up position. Managed to come out at static. Yeah, he's tired.
Well done from Sam there. That was really impressive. Like I was saying before, he just makes all the climbing look really easy, which is interesting. And I heard this from one of the setters, Patrick, actually, who was up at Queensland with him for the youth state titles, who claimed that he just kind of floated up everything, regardless of how difficult it was. So great climbing from him. Obviously a very technically gifted climber, but working well through those physical boulders too.
Judith with slightly different beta there. Trying to shuffle the feet along. Bit more dynamic method, but you see once she gets to the press, her body's quite still. She's in a static position. So you would call that position in the toe hook static, and then the move to drop the foot down dynamic. And we see the best climbers utilising a combination of those. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Judah's opting for quite a dynamic way through here. And she's made that. Oh no, she had that. So interestingly, that little hold, the zone hold, has no texture on it whatsoever. So setters refer to that as like a no text hold. Essentially, it means that there's no friction on it, so it's slippery. All the walls are slippery as well, so there's no text on these walls too, so it makes it really hard to plant a foot somewhere. Hopefully, she can be a little bit more trusting on her feet here to hold this position.
I wonder if she was awarded the zone on that last attempt there. So I don't think she quite controlled it, so probably no zone. And maybe she'll save herself for one final go.
I think that's a good shout, Jasper. The key thing with the zone and being awarded the zone is that you control it. So she moves into that zone, she presses her hand against it, however her hips were channeling back down to the floor, so she's actually falling out from the wall, so she's not actually controlling it. Pressure's on now to try and make work of this boulder. Not quite making it up there, but a great effort from Judith. Well done. Big cheer from the crowd. We've got 2 more athletes coming out. Claire Sheffings. And who have we got for the men, Jasper?
Dylan Soin for the men. Looked very technical on M1. Very calm and collected at that past the zone, moving to the top. So I wonder how he'll go on this paddle.
Such a difference in the style from Boulder 1, both for the women and the men. So the women had the more powerful, exciting boulder. This is still exciting. It's just a little bit more technical. Claire opting for the stand-up method there, but just falling away. It'll be cool to see how Dylan goes on this boulder, going for, I believe, his first attempt.
So I wonder if Claire's going to go for this jumping to stand on the volume method again. She is. Ooh, doesn't quite stick. So we've seen other athletes go a bit more static to that volume. Claire opting for a bit more dynamic. Looks like it could make it work. I think the next move is going to prove the challenge, isn't it?
I think so, Jasper. And I think it's one of those things where you have to make the right decision, and it can play on your mind quite a bit. Dylan not quite making contact there. I think he was thinking to himself that he needs to go deeper into those holds. If I'm correct, I think that those holds are quite deep, and the best of it is quite far at the back. So your wrist ends up being, it sort of rubs against the edge of the hold. So Dylan's got to be really accurate here to find that position. You don't have any time to try and readjust. So again, the difficulty of the paddle is finding the right momentum, finding the right position to again end in a really good position on the next hold. One of our brushers doing great work for the climbers here. It's sometimes it can be such a task to get that brush in your hand and start moving around. It's something I try and coach all the kids through. It's important to brush. However, it's a bit of a blessing in finals to have people doing that. So again, big shout out to the volunteers doing that. Claire's back up again at the start. She knows that move now. She's just in this position now where she's not quite sure how she should do this move. Does she try and stand up? She's made the press work. Well done.
Very nice, well-coordinated method there. So we've got first athlete who's established on the zone.
Not quite sure here. She's sussing the time. She's looking at the hop hold and eyeing that down. She needs to really commit herself to this. Her knee's really high, so she has to generate all from her back right foot. And just missing there, just not quite getting her chest high enough to grab that hold. It'll be interesting to see whether the athletes do the palm press method or they just shoot up into the top of the hold. We think it's possible to do both. We think that athletes will read them in both ways, but it's just how it will suit them going into that position. So getting really exciting here, not actually establishing at the start there, so maybe getting a little bit frustrated here. Hopefully just needed to make a little correction and get back on.
Claire about to go into this coordination she did before. Really good movement. Oh, doesn't quite have it again there. She's going right, left onto the volume, trying to keep the hips as close into the wall as possible. And you are pressing into that zone hold, but you really want to be just stood up on your feet on that volume, I'd say.
I think she overshot it a little bit. Oh, Dylan just missing there. He's going to be really disappointed with that because he's losing a bit of skin there. I think Claire keeps going a little bit too fast, so she's loading up a little bit too much and needs to find a bit more of a steady state. Dylan not quite able to hold that with the one hand, and he'll go back to isolation without a top.
Claire's on her final attempt now, so...
And no zone from Dylan, right? So he
No
didn't actually
zone
make
for
the zone
Dylan.
at all.
See
So again,
Claire...
Max before making the zone will give him quite an edge over Dylan now. So we'll see what that does to our scores later on.
So a bit frustrating there for Claire. It's always a bit frustrating when you get a movement, you can't replicate it again. But again, timing coming into it. You've got a finite amount of attempts, finite amount of time. You've got to, I wonder if Maya will be our first athlete to top this. She made short work of the first boulder.
Yeah, she did. It'd be really interesting to see the level that she's at if she can flash this boulder. She made that look really easy. Dylan's also hit the paddle in his first attempt as well. Seems to be moving well. Maya just slowly working her way through it, looking fantastic, really controlled. So good on her feet, so good in her hips. She's moving really well through here. Needs to just commit to this top and not quite making it.
Dylan going about this top move a bit differently at the moment, trying to press up into that hold. So now we see him getting into the same position other athletes were in before. Again, he's off. So both, they were long attempts. That was particularly for Dylan. That was quite a physical attempt, but a good flash attempt to stick that paddle on the first go.
Yeah, I think, again, it puts a lot of pressure on him to make sure he hits that paddle move again. We're seeing a lot of athletes struggle to make that move work. Dylan's hit it on his first go, so he'll be really keen to make sure that he can do that again. Maya's absolutely cruising the start of this boulder, looking fantastic on it. Eyeing down the zone hold now. She's done it before. She just needs to take her time, move steadily. And now a commitment to the top. I believe she needs to commit her hips and chest up to this hold a little bit more to make sure that she's in a good position. And there it is. Well, oh no, just popping out there. Grabbing her neck a little bit there. That's looking a little bit grim for her, but let's look at the replay. It looked like she had it, but she just kind of fell out.
Yeah, big commitment on that top move for Maya, and I think she'll be a bit disappointed falling off that top. Might have a bit of a sore neck, but I'm sure she'll rest up and have another big attempt. That was really good climbing up until there. Really good commitment into that top hold, so just a bit unlucky that slipped out, I'd say.
Yeah, interestingly, the angle of the foot kind of pushes you out and away from the wall. Originally, what we intended is that you might pop up with your right hand and then be able to press the left hand down. So again, just not quite reading that as well as she could, maybe. But again, I believe she'll be able to make this work. She's still got 1:30 left, so perhaps at least 2 more attempts. And a climber of her caliber, I think she's certainly capable of getting on top of this boulder.
Both climbers on the wall at the moment. Dylan also moving up to try to do that top move. We're on... Yeah, that's a great angle. And it's really bunch position for Dylan as Maya loads up for the top.
Damn, just not being able to make that top work. Interestingly, it seems like she's a bit low energy now, having done it a couple of times. Perhaps it's that mental energy and that mental commitment that you need for this boulder that's not quite giving her the opportunity to get to the top. Dylan also looks really tired. He's definitely only got 1 more attempt in him, but he looks really tired once he gets to the zone hold and starts making his way to the top.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen a top on either of these boulders by any athletes, and these are... Well, they qualified the top, and you would say so far from their first boulders that they did them with relative ease. So this is interesting to see. Must be quite hard problems, and well set by the route setters. Maya sticks it. It's the first top, very impressive, and that has really put her a notch above the rest of the competition.
Did we get a top from Sam Lavender on men's? I can't remember.
Oh, we did.
We did. Or did we get a top? We'll have to confirm
No, we did.
that.
We did. I apologise.
No, that's all right. We'll just be able to look at the scores as we move into the next boulders. There should be a little
score update when the athletes are out in the bottom left. We don't have it up right now, but stay posted and we'll let you know about Sam Lav's top. But I believe he did top it.
I do believe he
he
topped it. Yeah, it just did it so smoothly. Made short work of it. So
He did make short work of it, and that's what's so interesting is there's this real fight at the top here from the other athletes, but Sam, he's just kind of a, I don't know, it's just hard to remember his attempt because he just made light work of it. So Dylan's off the boulder, he'll be disappointed with that, and now we're moving on to boulder number 3. We are on boulder number 3. We're staying over at the slab for a little bit. We've got Riley jumping up now, making light work of the establishing position. The female climbers will be going over to the roof. So as Jasper said earlier on, it's the power boulder. It's less, typically less complex, more about pulling really hard and making sure you're as strong as possible on this boulder. So going to be really exciting to see how these athletes go, especially on this slab. I reckon you would love this one, Jasper.
yeah, I like my slab climbing. I'll be really interested to see how the athletes go on this slab. It's interesting. I wonder how that looked like quite a flexible move, needed really stretching out. And you see some of our male athletes, flexibility is a real strength, and some of them it's not. So it's interesting to see, especially with the men, there's a lot of difference in some of the athletes' flexibility. I'll be really interested to see who can top this. And that move to the zone there looks quite committing and stretchy.
It is a stretchy one for sure. A really simple looking boulder. I always like setting slabs. They can always appear really minimal. There's this element of almost being scared when you're looking at the slab because you think, I wonder if I can stand on that hold. I wonder if I can move, slowly, or I have to move fast. There's always this really intimidating element to it. As you can see, Riley just moving over nice and slow over to the next one. Lockie Moore, what a legend. There he is, a brushing legend.
Yeah, a lot of nice people brushing and volunteering. So thank you to everyone who's helped out today. Both athletes resting, although
Riley's jumping back quite quick. So you can see some of the new holds. The yellow there is a Squadra hold provided by Friction Addiction. And then we've got the snap holds that I believe are actually at the Tokyo Olympics. And we purchased them from the National Association and have been using them in our commercial sets, and they're fantastic. Really good on the slab. Big spherical shaves that make it really tricky to figure out where to stand on them, and their profile's really small. Yeah, really, really nice holds.
I think quite a nice part of having a slab climb in the competition is, especially one like this, where it's no hands for this move. It's not restful. It's intense on your legs, but it's a good break from these power and coordination boulders where you're really suffering in the upper body. And that's why you're going to see Riley having a lot of attempts on this, because it's not draining. You can just get back on, jump on it, and you can have a lot of attempts, which is a bit different from a power boulder where you might say, I'm only going to have 3 attempts on this, I've got to rest.
The slab can be really mentally taxing. It's spooky, it's intimidating, you can fall at any second. So to be able to come out and feel confident on the slab and be able to do it in quite a few attempts is the ideal way to be. Typically, the slab boulder is quite different from the other boulders in the sense that, like you were saying, Jasper, there's this very heavy balance element to it, especially with the IFSC specifications for their slab boulders. You get this no hands balancing element where you just have to commit to your feet, work really efficiently through your hips, whereas the other 3 boulders you get are somewhat similar in the sense that you need to be strong, you need to be powerful, you need to be coordinated, and you need to be really dynamic. So I think it's really important for athletes to train on the slab to make sure that when they get to that boulder, that they know that they can do it.
So time's out here, and Riley has his. That is the zone, is it?
Yeah, he's got the zone, so it's actually quite close. Which means that first move is quite tricky. So he's off now. He will be awarded the zone, so that's good for him to get that on his last attempt. And then we're getting the next athletes coming out now. So we've got Anna Davey and Jessie Ruffini.
I think that'll be quite a valuable zone for Riley going forward, won't it? Got it in the dying minutes of the round, so impressive stuff. I think he would have loved to have another couple minutes to keep having a go on it and get onto the top section, but hopefully we'll see some more athletes get onto that top bit.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Again, I feel like every little zone is going to count here. We don't have any scores up at the moment, which is actually kind of exciting. It's going to be a big reveal at the end. As you can see in the bottom left of your screen right now, it tells us how many tops the athletes have got. So unfortunately, Anna hasn't got any tops at this point. She's going to be really keen to get a top and put herself in the running for a podium. And again, we've got Jesse coming through the back here. But Jesse's climbing actually really well. He got the zone on the last boulder, didn't quite make the top, dropped the top twice actually. So he's going to want to come back and try really hard on this boulder and get up this slab and put him in a good position to go into boulder 4.
Yeah, so we see Anna starting this power boulder. Really quite physical here. She's making good work of this. Looking strong, looking really strong. High heel. Great technique there to take a bit of stress off the... Oh, wow. Really impressive. She's cruising this.
That's good climbing, hey? Always using all limbs to make sure that you're in a really stable position. Looking a little bit more cryptic here. Not sure when to use what. Probably... We can't see what's on the other side there. I believe there's another crimp. Or maybe she's just pressing and she's palming down. She's going to have to really press up hard with that right leg. She's got into the crimp. Pressing really hard. Oh, just coming off. She'll be tired.
Great attempt there. Really impressive. Really got close to the top. Closest athlete we've seen so far on that boulder. And she looked strong. She looked really strong. Good technique. I think she's climbed that in the intended beta and very impressive stuff.
Yeah, she's looking good. I think we can be misleading how well the climbers actually understand the movement based on how tired they are. For all the climbers out there, you can certainly understand when you have a really low energy day and sometimes it's tricky to climb well despite knowing how to move on the wall. Anna's still just laying on her back there. She's clearly really fatigued. She's got herself to the second last hold and then just fallen off, and that's kind of a tough blow to take because you've got to go through all the effort you've already been through and then try and push through a little bit more from your last attempt. And realistically, you have less energy. You have less to give at that point. So hopefully she can find something and try really hard.
So we've got now scorecard up here. Unfortunately, we can't get on the screen. But in the men, we've got Sam Lavender. He has 2 tops. It's a significant lead over the others. And then we have all climbers except for Dylan Soyne with 1 top, 1 zone. So it's going to be interesting on the next 2 and this slab. So the zone, it's going to be important, I think. And look, if you get the zone, you get established. Oh, we can get the scores. This is great.
Here we are. Look at that. Make a wish and you... What's the saying? Something and you will receive.
Make a wish, you will receive. I don't know.
Let's
Not
go
quite
with
sure.
that.
We'll go with that.
So as you can see, Sam Lav at the top there. Interestingly, Sam is renowned to be really good at slab. So he's put himself in a great position to do the 2 boulders that perhaps not in his best style. And so he's going to be a real contender for the podium here if he can come out and get 3 tops.
Anna is back on the power boulder. She's got up to the zone, trying to press up. Whoa, looks physical, looks like a hard boulder. I mean, impressive climbing to get to there. I wonder if we'll see anyone really be able to just cruise through that. Potentially Maya.
It feels really exciting. I feel like the men feel decently close, and maybe Maya's just pushing out her lead quite a bit. You've got Claire in second place with 1 top and 1 zone, and then Claire in third with just the single zone. So if Maya can top the next boulder, and Clea doesn't, I think Maya actually wins. But anyhow, I'm not going to talk too far ahead. Let's just let the climbing happen. I think maybe a little bit of blood on this hold here now, just coming from that palm position. The holds are really, really, really textured at the moment, so it means that there's a lot of chance that people have split fingertips, or in this case, a palm or something like that. Route setting team just trying to get some alcohol on there and make it safe for the climbers to get back on. And here we have Clea Hall.
Clea is currently sitting in second for the women. She got that top on the first boulder, which was very impressive. That was quite a powerful boulder. So this one looks quite powerful as well. I wonder if this is her style.
Clea looked quite strong on the first boulder. She looks like she's quite strong in her shoulders, so hopefully this suits her, this kind of pressing position. Interestingly, it's 3 points low. I mean, not interestingly, but it just seems like it's quite a stretch to get to that position. Quite a contorted little start, and then obviously trying to work your way out to the roof where you have a bit more breathing room and comfort to move all your limbs where you need to.
Looks like this first move's a bit blind coming out of that press.
Yeah, you can kind of get a good touch on it, but then it's not so clear how you get over. We've got the double catch there from Clea, doing really well. Opting for the crimp first, as opposed to going to the longer bar that we've got, where her left heel is locking her into that position. Swiveling back round, ideally going to get the feet back up on the crimp where she just was. No, going the low one. She's a little bit taller. Going for the press. Need to move those feet up.
Strong here. Oh, and a foot pop. Looked very shouldery. A lot of compression. Scapula's getting involved there. Really having to squeeze your shoulders in on that pinch and the crimp.
I love a good shoulder mood. If there's any boulder that I think I could make good work of, I think it would be that one. Really going to press really hard, and then fight for that top. But again, I'm certainly not a very flexible climber. Being able to rock my knee over hard and push on that left palm, I think is quite tricky. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm really interested to see Maya on that. I feel like Maya's going to come out and just make absolute light work of it. Oh, Max opting for a jump there to then come back onto the right. I quite like that. It's very like Japanese-esque kind of style. I've seen a lot of YouTube and Instagram content of these very jumpy base slabs, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's really committing and scary, but at the same time, it's kind of this parkour style coming into the space. So yeah, let's see how Max goes now.
I'm very impressed by that coordinated method, but I wonder if it is the best way. Oh, wow. He looks like he's going to skip the zone here. Now, for everyone watching, you can skip the zone and still get awarded both the zone and the top if you successfully get to the top. But it's risky, so high risk, high reward for Max here. That's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, that's a good shout, Jasper. I forgot to mention that he can just completely skip this zone. I think if he stands on that second black hole there, he'll be able to just touch the zone. So let's see what he does here. He'll also be able to put his foot on it. So there he goes down. He's holding the zone with his thumb, so he's been awarded that. That's great climbing from Max. I think it's ideal to get his foot up. It looked like he was going to maybe jump off the left. Pressing, bringing that right foot up, and then a really exciting finish. Let's see how he goes here. Oh, and he gets it. Well done. That's great
Sticks
climbing.
the top.
That's great climbing from Max. I love the way he read that. Just jumping and exploding out of that foot position. Here's the replay. Oh, that's great. Just dragging the feet across the wall. Really strong in his forearms and his fingers there. So it's just easy to hold that position. It's just committing to get there.
I bet he's enjoying that. That's a great top. First one we've seen on the slab. Very dynamic. So super impressive to see Max do it that way.
That was really cool.
That was cool.
I think going with the foot swap, you're in this really risky position and it's hard to bring the feet out and swap them. For Max to read that, and like you spoke about at the start, just this kind of beta break you want to find, like do it your way. What's the way that you can do it to make it easiest for yourself? That's what Max did, and I think that's smart play.
Clears in extra time on the power boulder here. She's looked good so far. Getting a high heel. She's had a couple minutes rest, which is good for her. So hopefully she can give it everything on this last attempt.
I love the 4+ minute format. I think it's really interesting because it puts all this pressure on the athlete to put in that last attempt. Typically in Claire coming off there, but that's all right. But anyhow, typically in World Cups, the time's up, and when the time's up, you're off the boulder, and it can be really frustrating for the athlete. The 4+ time limit kind of gives the athletes this extra bit of this extra fight that they can potentially put in, and we saw that from. Who was at the start? Who topped the boulder and fought? Max. It was actually Max on the first boulder for the men. Time went out, and he was pretty much at the start of the boulder, and then he worked his way through it. I just think that's great climbing.
Now, as you said, Trent, it's going to be interesting to see Sam on slab. You said he's a good slab climber. He's looked very good technically, at particularly the top of the last 2 boulders. So Sam is in the lead of this male category, and I think if he tops this, he's going to be in a great position. Looks good. Looks really good on the slab. He's not opting for that coordinated method, but this is impressive to see that static method. He's trusting his feet. Really good climbing. Very sound technique.
We're only 30 seconds into this round with Judith and Sam, and I feel like we're moving very quickly. I can't imagine Sam falling off the top of this, especially with his height. Crimping the side of the volume there, which is legal. You can do that. You just can't use the bolt holes on the wall. And here he goes. He's just, oh, look at that. That's great. Isn't it interesting that Max jumps to the zone and then jumps to the top, and then Sam, the specialized slab climber, just slowly edges his way over to the end there. Really good effort. That was impressive.
Yeah, 3 tops now for Sam. He's got half a hand on being the lab master, I'd say. Really impressive on the slab. It's also nice to see athletes bring up a chalk bag on slab, chalk up, compose themselves, make sure they've got a bit of extra grip. It's good to see that static, trusting climbing on the feet. Really, just great technique.
Well, that's you, Jasper. You've always got the chalk bag on when you're bouldering, mate. It's your style.
Yeah, it's often the chalk bag would be strapped around climbers for lead climbing. See it a bit on bouldering slab, but it's mainly if your hands get sweaty and you need a bit of extra grip. But on slab, it's particularly useful, I would say.
I'm very impressed with Sam there. He really lived up his name there. The rumours are true. He's a bit of a slab lord. We should have made that foot worse. Get him off. But no, not really. I just think he deserves that. He deserves that top. And again, I think if you can put that work in as an athlete to make sure that you know you're going to top the slab boulder, that is the way to go. So great climbing from Sam, and great position to put himself in going into the 4th boulder. And here we've got Judith in this pressing position, finding the grab. Also going to the crimp first as opposed to this other long hold, and using the heels. Great technical climbing right here, staying locked in. And this is where the physicality starts. I feel like you have to move quite quickly through this sequence. You want to get the palm in, get the foot, and just start rocking and pressing.
Look at the strength there from Judith. Shoulder muscles bulging. Oh, that's impressive in that position, going up for a Gaston on that crimp.
I think it's important that when you establish the palm on the left volume, that you actually make it a little. Well, Judith needs to make it a little bit higher than what she was doing just before, because that means that when she presses up to the crimp, she's not in such a stretched out position, and then when she grabs that crimp, she can bring her left foot up to then go to the top. I think all the women have made great links on this boulder, but no one's managed to top it at this point. So obviously that pressing position is quite tricky. You can see Judith shaking out her forearms there. She's clearly quite pumped. We're over halfway through in this competition. There's still one more boulder to go. So yeah, let's see how she does in this next attempt. I feel like the top is a jug. I know the top's a jug. If you can get into the position to go for it, it's highly likely that you're going to finish the boulder. So Judith just needs to put it together now.
So Judith's going to go into extra time on this attempt. This is impressive. That's a small crimp next to the zone hold. You can see she's only getting half a pad of fingertip on that. And she's moving with determination here. It's good. Presses up. Sticks the Gaston. Just got to get in position for the top hold.
She's so close. She's fighting so hard.
Oh,
She just misses
wow.
it. Hips are just falling out of the wall. She'll be really disappointed with that. Oh, what a great fight from Judith. Well done.
That's a mega effort. Really impressive. That's the kind of thing you just send the next attempt, but a 4-minute format makes it challenging.
All right, we've got a Mr. Dylan Soyne on the slab. And then for our female climbers, we've got Claire Sheffings coming into this pressy shouldery boulder. So again, like I mentioned earlier before, when Claire was on Boulder 1, she's got her shoulder taped up, so I'm not sure what that's doing to her at the moment. I'm not sure how capable she is to press hard through it. But she's going to want to fight on this one. She's really got to work for it. She's making light work of this movement out, getting the high heel, beautiful technical climbing, a lot of switching of angles, a lot of switching of body positions. And she is eyeing that down, but just not quite in the right position for it.
Yeah, I'd really say that Claire is an athlete who loves her strong shouldery moves. You see her around the gym. She's always hitting those shoulder presses, big Gastons, loves the steep stuff. I think this is a boulder really well suited to her. I think she's going to really enjoy climbing this.
Yeah, it's a good shout, Jasper. I think it's really important that she gets a top here. I mean, Claire's come out, and Claire's only got the one top at the moment. So if Claire can get a top, she's going to be in a really good position to fight for either first or second place. But it would mean that May would have to not top the next two boulders, which seems highly unlikely for me. Mayo is just looking really strong. She looks like she's got so much energy. I feel like it's a bit of that youth power. And here, Claire doing a better job in that position by locking out the elbow, which allows her to press through her right foot a little bit more. But again, really physical, really tricky to make that transition. And how are we going on the slab? I haven't quite...
Yeah, well, Dylan's on the slab. He's getting established. He hasn't got the move to the zone yet. But I think, once again, Dylan's strength would be slab and technical climbing. So I think both these climbers here, these would be boulders they're looking forward to, boulders they consider their strength, and Dylan nearly getting the move to that black foothold on the left. Dylan opting for a much more static method than Max. Quite similar to Sam, I would say.
Really interesting to see the difference between the athletes on the slab. I really feel like it separates the really gifted technical climbers from the perhaps more punchy strength-based climbers. Dylan just working on the foot swap here and just missed the foot there. And we're back to Claire, eyeing down that palm press. She hits it. She needs to try so hard. And just slipping off. It's quite an uncomfy position on the palm because those volumes are so textured. It's kind of like 1,000 tiny pins just like pressing into your skin. And at the end of the day, when you've done qualies and you've made it to finals and you're fighting on the finals boulders, it's just hard work, real hard work.
We see Dylan going again on the slab. I quite like how he's getting established on that yellow foothold, and he's almost foot matching. He's really standing up on it, trusting his feet. And whilst we've seen a few of the climbers go a bit more dynamic, going for a really static method. But he is then falling out a bit when he goes to the next black foothold. So interesting. I wonder if that's the best way to go about it, or I think it obviously suits his style.
I wonder whether the method is as soon as you make this foot swap, you need to quickly make the transition or go slow like this. Wow, okay, so he went slow, but I feel like he went too far on the left, the first black sphere. It seems like he's learned that movement now, and I think if he can make this first transition, he puts himself in a really good position to get at the top of this boulder. This might be his last attempt as well if he makes that transition, and then his time will be up.
Goes for the foot swap again. Yeah, just didn't quite have it there. The foot swap looked really controlled, and we've got Claire. She's got last attempt on the power boulder. Wonder if she can get into that shouldery press again. She's looking close.
God, it's going to be tough work to get back there and to then dig even deeper than you had on the attempts before. Hopefully the crowd can get behind her now and just not quite able to hold that position. Claire will be really disappointed with that. I'm sure that taped shoulder has something to do with that, so hopefully she's not in too much pain. And on to our next athletes.
Claire really having to bone down on that crimp above the zone hold. I think that kind of emphasises just how small these crimps are. She's really full crimping it, putting the thumb on top, give it a bit of extra power. So these are small crimps. Some of the athletes make them look huge and they just move through them with ease, but these are quite small crimps. So I wonder how Maya will go about it.
Maya's
Powerful.
making pretty quick work, hey? She's already up in this position.
Just great to
She's
see.
So flexible, so mobile and strong through her hips to be able to stand up in that position.
Really stands up.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
Showing
She's
off to the crowd.
feeling pretty confident there.
Oh, that was a great body position she found. Just right there, great body position. Showing off as she should. She's got 3 tops. A couple of them have been flashes. She's really blitzed the comp today.
Gosh, that is great climbing from Maya. She looks so strong. It'll be so interesting to see her on the last boulder. I think it might be a little bit of a victory lap for her. She's the only climber with 3 tops. I believe that there is no chance that anyone can beat Maya at this point. But what we're going to see is a really big fight for 2nd and 3rd place. Dylan, we haven't seen much footage of him on the slab yet. We're going to be fully focused on him because Maya's already topped the boulder in less than a minute. Dylan looked close then. It just looked like he needed a bit more of his forefoot on the textured part of that volume. So for those at home who aren't sure about climbing holds and how they work, essentially the lighter part of the volume is a textured part, so it's got better grip for the rubber on your climbing shoe, and the rest of it is non-textured. It's just super slippery. So if you hit that part of the hold, it's likely that you get off. So Dylan was really accurate there with the foot, but I think was trying and thinking too much about the crimp to stabilize himself, rather than thinking about his hips and pressing into the wall.
I like how he's opted for more of a step-through method there. We've seen that work for a couple of the athletes. We've seen a lot of methods work, a lot of good beta here. So some step-throughs, some coordination, some static. And it goes again for the step-through, but that zone hold's not giving the athletes much, is it? It's just really there to touch. It's a problem which requires a lot of balance. Not really going to use your handholds much on this climb until you get to the top section. So you've really got to, hips got to be pressed against the wall, bridged out nicely, and super static climbing.
I hate to say it again, but Sam Lav made absolute light work of this slab. Flashed it, came out, proved to himself that he's into it. Seeing a little bit of a different dynamic method there as well. We saw the jump across from Max where he essentially leapt over and pressed down into his toe and got his knee over his toe to stabilize that position. Dylan, however, is going for more of a hop-skip step. Not quite sure what's going through his head at the moment. It's a really tricky position to be in when you're trying so many different methods and you're not sure what's going to work and you're not sure what feels close.
Great angle of Dylan, so he's stuck it now. Sticks that step through, 40 seconds, could be his last attempt here. Oh, looks really controlled. You can see those feet have got dual text on on the top, and a nice rubbery bulge. And he's looking static, controlled, he's calm here. Max had a bit of trouble stepping up into the blob really on the volume. Oh, crimping the edge of the volume. That's his comp experience right there.
That is proper naughty. I hate that, but it's just the way it goes. Sometimes the holds are too big on those volumes, and there he goes. He's got his
easy
second
match.
top. Well done, Dylan. That's great. That's really good to get that in. I mean, he could still... Oh, no, Sam's topped all 3. And Sam's flashed this boulder. I believe that Sam could have already put himself... Oh, look at our cameraman. I'm sorry, but I've got to give a big shout out to Josh there. An absolute champion on the camera, giving us all these great looks at the boulders for all you people at home. Probably a good time right now to give another quick shout out to our sponsors. So we've got Friction Addiction, helping us get some new holds on the walls, the Squadras, and the Visi holds. And then we've also got Unparallel, who had an awesome little stand at the front of the gym today. People were able to try on shoes and talk to the rep at Friction Addiction, which was great. We also had Happy Beaner. We also had Cliff Bar. We had Mad Rock, Chalk Up, and then Casual as well. So absolutely psyched to have had them on this journey with us.
Yeah, a big thanks to the technical crew as well. We've got great camera angles. We're able to deliver this live stream. It's been great. So now, athletes onto the fourth boulder. We see this quite shouldery. This is quite a big jug to start with. You wouldn't see many holds that big on these climbs of this level, but it's a really big shouldery move up to with the right arm, isn't it? So seeing Riley starting on that, and then we've got this women's four, which looks like a really strong, coordinated boulder, I'd say.
Yeah, great call, Jasper. Time's gone quite fast, actually. We're into the fourth boulder. Big shout out to you too, mate. Thanks for stepping up and coming onto the live stream with me today. I was on it last year and I was thinking about who was the best contender to come through and support me today. And I really feel like you've carried the team, mate. You've done really well. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Trent. Always putting on a great show. Trent, everyone knows Trent at the climbing wall. He's a social guy. He's always giving smiles to everyone. And look, he's just waving to someone right now. So he's a setter. He works at Boulder Lab. He's all-round nice guy.
Thanks, mate.
Hopefully a great commentator. We've got both athletes climbing at the same time and both falling off. So hard final boulders, I'd say.
Yeah, we do. And I think that it's always tricky to think about the sequence of the boulders that you want for the athletes. So realistically, the most physical boulder at the end is not the way. I'm not saying these are the most physical boulders, but they probably will feel super physical for the athletes as they come out. They're feeling low energy. They probably need something to eat and a bit of caffeine, to be honest, to tackle these boulders. But this is where you separate the really good climbers from the middle parts of the pack. So Noemi is going to have to really push hard. We've got Riley also coming into men's four with this really powerful move. He's taking a really big break, and then he's going to eye up this hold again. Establish those 4 points really high near his chest, and then find the swinging motion to load up into this. Quite a big swing, to be honest. I feel like a swing that intense is going to make it really hard for your shoulder to stabilize in the position when you grab the hold. So as you can see, when he hits it, his hips are really far away. They need to be a little bit closer to the wall. Of course, they're going to fling out from this kind of movement, but I feel like Riley really needs to focus on a better position, a better end position.
This M4 is so physical. No feet. It's a campus move. It's about as close to raw strength as you get in climbing. So really shouldery with that right shoulder. And in the comps, you often have a few shouldery moves, and you try them once, and you get quite sore, and then you got to just try them again. So you see Riley resting a lot here. That's a good tactic, I think. I think he'll probably have one more good go, really get everything he's got.
Yeah, good shout, Jasper. I think this, not that we have this situation where there's a big separator here. It would be really cool to see Sam Lavender get up all 4 boulders. But again, not sure if he's going to be able to do that. We've got Noemi, who's really struggled to make the establishing position and get through. And the athletes are both getting off these boulders, not even able to get to the second move. All right, Anna Davey and Jessie Ruffini coming into boulder number 4 for the athletes. We're fast approaching the end of this competition, Lab Masters 2024. It's been an absolute ripper event. Honestly, the finals boulders are an absolute step up from last year. These big volumes, big new holds, incredible movement has made such an exciting finals competition. Really enjoyed watching. I'm really engaged and kind of on the edge of my seat the whole time. So hopefully we can see a top from the women and the men on these boulders. They're super exciting and they're really, really cool. They're kind of pushing the kind of climbing movement we're seeing in the Australian climbing scene, really pushing for this World Cup style boulders. So, Jessie coming back down and slapping down. That is a really intense effort, and he opts to jump off the boulder and likely take a bit of a rest before he gets on again.
Did we see Riley use that hold above the jug when he was trying to go up with the shoulder press? Because that has definitely seems to have got Jessie Ruffini quite close.
No, so Riley was going in for the press, but he didn't use it to generate as he went through. I think going with the right hand up and then kind of slapping the left down and then going the right is a tricky method. However, if it gives you that push to get up into the undercling, it might be smart play. So let's see how we go here.
So that is a powerful boulder there. Raw power.
I believe the angle of the wall there is, I believe it's 45 degrees. So we've got the volumes stacked to change that angle and make it a little bit more forgiving, I guess. But nonetheless, you've got to really work hard through your shoulders and your biceps to really power up to that next position. And you need to aim higher than it. You kind of need to aim deep for it, so you overkill it a little bit and make sure you can get your shoulder a little bit more into the position. Here's Anna finding the position. We've got
This is a figure 4 from Jesse.
Oh my God.
It's a technique used in ice climbing commonly, and we've
The
seen it a few.
techers.
Wow!
He loves it. He loves it.
A technique from ice climbing. It's become a bit popular on social media, and what a great way to use it.
What an incredible way to top this boulder if you can. This top is not forgiving though. It's just melt foul.
Crowd's revved up. What a move on the final boulder.
I think that was Andrew Chen, one of the setters, maybe helping judge this boulder, saying that maybe he didn't establish the starting position officially, so he needs to make sure that when he gets on the boulder this time, that he actually establishes correctly. So I wonder whether he will be awarded the zone for that last attempt, because I believe he did get to the zone. I can't quite see the position of where the zone is, whether he did get to that hold. But that's great climbing from him. He will be super psyched to try that again. It certainly will be very taxing on his right hand. Like, you'll be really tired to do that move again. But I feel like if the crowd can get behind him now... Oh, and Anna hits the jump. Nice.
Anna sticks it, gets a zone. Very impressive. Naomi couldn't quite stick this. Oh, proper mantle. Real fight on this last move. Looking good, though. You can see she's utilising straight arms there to rest a bit. Now this, wow, downturn knee bar. Oh, wow. Crowd is up and about. This is a great final move on the final problem.
What a fight. This is so exciting. Maybe Anna can actually match from there and just tap.
Ooh.
Oh. No, she's still on.
That's a restful position she's found, just squeezing herself in between those two big macros.
Come on, Anna, come on. And she's
Wow.
up. Well done.
Very, very impressive. We got Jesse as well. Jesse is back on M4. Oh, can't quite stick it.
That shoulder move looks really intense. That was great.
That's great beta. Great climbing. Wow. Really cool to see on the final boulders. We've got a great finish in hand here.
Well, we've got our tops. I'm satisfied. I've seen it. I'm stoked. We've got Max and Clea coming out for their last go at getting another top. I think Clea is in the position to fight for second place, so she'll really want to get a flash on this boulder. Obviously, ideally a top. Ideally a flash. A top will do. A zone would also do something as well. Max looking pretty close on that first move.
Big boulder for both of them in terms of the scoring, I believe. So I don't think either of them can place first, but both the male and female categories quite close for second and third, and everyone would love to get on the podium here. This is great final boulders to showcase the skills. I mean, the crowd's louder than it's been all night. Everyone wants to see some tops here.
And I'm pretty sure first place is $1,500.
Yeah, big prize money for climbing.
Mate. And Clea making
and they both stuck the move at the same time.
It's on. We're going to the top.
Oh, this is great. So Max gets the zone.
Really got to squeeze in this position here. It's all about your tension on the men's boulder.
Clea really gritting her teeth. Ooh.
Max is loving these dynamic movements. He's not even phased about trying to do what feels comfortable, feels right. He's really keen to just kind of send it. But maybe that is what feels most right for him. Really creative from him. I like to see that. Maybe he feels like he's got nothing to lose, but I feel like Max is a contender for second place potentially. So getting the zone is really good for him. Getting a top would be ideal. Just taking a rest now to get back into that next attempt. And same from Clea.
Yeah, both these athletes, they've got just about as close as you can get to getting a top on both these boulders. So you could see a bit of resting now. Rest for a minute or so, however long you need. That's going to be the best way, give themselves the best chance to top it at the end of this round.
Clea opting for the chalk bag around the waist. Maybe going to give her some help at the top of the boulder as she's pressing up, although I do think they're quite chalky. Max making light work of the start now. He's going to rest with his palm and try and drop really low, maybe into the Gaston here. Oh, just struggling to get that right hand over.
Max is our only other athlete, excluding Sam, with 2 tops at the moment. So getting a top on this would solidify his place in second, and well, it would put him in temporary first. Sorry. So this is big for Max. He's in second at the moment. It's Sam's to win, I'd say. But yeah, this is an important boulder for Max if he can top it.
Yeah, so if Max tops the boulder, it would be really important for Sam to at least get a zone. I imagine that Sam will be able to do that really powerful first move. He's been looking really strong, looking like he's got a lot of energy as he's coming through this finals round. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Hey.
Likewise for Clea, she's also in second. She's got the zone here, and getting another top would solidify her place in second. So big boulders for these two. You can only imagine they'll have 1 or 2 more attempts on this before the time runs out, and Max is going for it now. Not opting for the figure 4, but that big shouldery move. He's sticking it. Really having to try hard. Wonder if he's going to go with the coordinated method again. Looks like he is. Bit of compression between those 2 big slopers. And Clea's on her last attempt of the evening. Oh, wouldn't the crowd love to see another top?
It'll be certainly very exciting. I can imagine everyone's just gearing up for it now. She's getting that left heel up. Really powerful position, rolling up, pressing hard. Really important to get those triceps involved, but just not able to get over the top of it. A really good attempt from Clea. Well, we're halfway through our last attempts from all the athletes on finals boulder number 4. We've got Sam Lavender out here, who could solidify his place as the lab master in the male open category. Really important for him to try and get a top here. He's established his 4 points. He's going for the press method. Oh, very nice. Made that look quite easy. This guy is looking very strong.
Just a reminder, if Sam tops this, he has won. He's topped everything so far. He's looking strong. This is his flash attempt. Just able to stop on that pinch there. Really impressive.
Wow, the shoulder stability here. He needs to flip that left hand or just send it. And he looks so strong. Well done from Sam.
The lab master.
He's the lab master. Well done to Sam Lavender. It's worth the plane ride, ladies and gentlemen. Well done to him. That is a fantastic climb.
Judith's nearing the top of this. Oh, wow. Is this Judith's flash attempt? That's very impressive stuff.
Light work. Made light work of those attempts. 2 flashes at the same time.
I think that might move Judith up into third. Or just on attempts above Anna Davey. But, yeah, very impressive by Sam there. You've got to say he's been the best technically powerful, coordinated. He's just been all round really on point today. Really impressive climbing to watch.
Yeah, I've not seen Sam climb before in a competition event. I've heard good things about him, and yeah, he really performed today. He lived up to the expectations, and I just think he looks like he's got a great head game. He really looked focused, had a great approach to all the boulders as he went into them, and certainly came in with a lot of confidence from his qualification round.
So if Claire can top this women's 4th boulder in any number of attempts, she will move up into 3rd, onto the podium. And falling off that start move.
Looking pretty good. I feel like she's got the motion right with the coordination, moving quite fast. Dylan just got a high heel there. That's really impressive climbing from him. As we've spoken about, Jasper, really technically gifted climber, really flexible as well. So let's see how he goes in this really powerful end sequence here. Needs to hold it together.
Yeah, top on this one for Dylan. Would put him on the podium. Utilising good toe hooks and heel hooks here. Doesn't seem to be able to just... Oh, he has. Very impressive here from Dylan.
This is some technical hand sequence here. He seems in a really interesting little tangle, so heavily locked off here on the left. It's going to be really hard for him to move out of this. He's opting for a pressing method with his thumb and not quite able to reach around and grab with the right. And Claire sticking the jump, making that look really fluent. Learnt the movement quite quickly. We're seeing a lot of fight at the top of this boulder. She's trying to reach her head around and see what's going on up there and reach the hand up there.
Bit of a knee scum as well.
Yep.
Helping with resting, trying to, yeah, really press up off that knee. So Claire would move up into third if she managed to top this. Crowd urging her on. She's a local. She's a Victorian Boulder Lab athlete.
Now this is a strange position to be in. Knees almost over the top of your head. Torso completely sideways, crimping the volume, almost hugging the hold underneath you with your right hand. Can she just match it from here? Here she goes. Well
Gets
done.
it. The crowd has gone wild.
That's huge. Big smile on her face. She's super psyched about that
I
one.
believe she's moved up into third. Crowd's loving it. Local hero, Boulder Lab climber. That's a great top for Claire.
That's a great fight, and that's that thing of just staying in the boulder, sticking with it, trusting yourself. When we saw, I can't remember who it was one of our earlier female athletes who looked like they could do just a touch finish and stay in this position. And that is so much trust on the foot there. At any moment that could pop and you just be heading to the depths of the earth.
Yeah, so our female podium, as Maya is in first, is complete. Maya's the only climber yet to climb on this women's fourth boulder. So maybe it'll be a bit of an exhibition top. We hope so. We've got Maya in first, Clea second, and Claire third, just because of that top. And now it is, can Dylan Soyne move up into a podium position? He can if he tops this. Looking good here. Gets that high toe again to lock off the left press almost. Elbows really flaring. Just can't quite keep it in.
Really, really intense top sequence. These athletes have been so much in the qualification round, climbing some really hard blocks. And then this being their fourth boulder, it puts them in a really tricky position physically to execute on this boulder. A lot of athletes getting really close and getting to this top position, but just not quite able to finish off. I believe this will be Dylan's last attempt. Time's going to run out. He's got the time. He can finish this attempt. However, he finds himself back in a similar position that he's been in. I'm not sure he's going to have the power to be able to get through this. Big crowd here out at Lab Masters, as you can see. Everyone very watchful and interested in the climbing. Dylan's fighting his way through this, really trying to find...
Just pressing... Had a bit of a thumb sprag there, didn't he, on that hold?
Yeah, interesting little bit of beta. I mean, again, like I say, Sam all day just looked so strong, and he didn't have to climb as much as the other boys. He flashed a lot of the harder boulders to make the finals round, which again puts him in a really good position to not have to use so much energy through the finals boulders or have more energy for the finals boulders. And again, just making light work of that top. Been really impressive to watch all these athletes try hard.
So we have Maya, who's leading. She's won our female category. Climbed incredibly all day. I believe it's her flash attempt. She's cruising. It's really impressive to see. Oh, goes about it a bit differently. Light work, and the crowd has gone nuts.
She's our female
Very
Lab
impressive
Master
top.
winner.
So
That's amazing from her.
can Dylan move himself up into the podium? He needs a top here. So, got here on his flash attempt. He's looking quite strong. Quite a strong climber, I would say.
Dylan's really good in his shoulders. He's able to kind of like almost hyperextend his shoulders and be in these really sucked in positions to the wall. So I like his chances of actually holding this next position if he can find his way around this big hold. You kind of have to push yourself around and then suck in if you go statically, but here he's going dynamically, and it just seems a really tricky position to hold on to. Because your feet are so bunched up against you, it's really hard to find a steady position when you flip over to the left hold. So, yeah, going to be a tricky one for Dylan to fight with on the next.
Dylan will be our last climber tonight, won't he? Mayer having topped that. So, the crowd's going to get around him. They're looking for one last top. There's been a lot of tops on these last boulders. It's been great to see the fight of the athletes, particularly at the top.
It's been a great session. I've really enjoyed my time with you, Jasper. I think you're speaking well. You can see your teammates in the bottom right corner there, mate, can't you? Mr. Luke and Leo.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people who climb regularly at Boulder Lab. We've got 3 locations. Brunswick, Ferntree Gully, Clayton. Oh, great gym. But here he goes. Oh, one arm lock off on that jug to start with. Mad strength.
Yeah, all these boys are really strong. I'm certainly jealous. I feel like one of the older dogs around the gym now. Came into climbing a little bit later in my life, and I'm starting to feel sore most set days. Unlike you. Oh, okay. Moving quickly to that, but again, the hip's just a little bit behind. I think Dylan's a little bit shocked about the speed in which he's moving through that. It's going to be really hard for him to hold that position. But I feel like he's got nothing to lose here, right? I feel like if he can try and make that work and can do that sort of high-risk play, that's the best way for him. But just need the crowd to get behind him, eh?
Yeah, I wonder how many, if you're Dylan now, how many more attempts do you choose to put into this? Do you say you're going to put in just one more, you're going to wait till the time's nearly out? Or do you say I'm going to go again now and then have another attempt? It's a big decision, but I think he's close to the top. I think if he commits to that, he's got a good grip on it.
For context as well, the athletes don't know the scores. They simply climb their way through, they get into isolation, then they just go on to their next boulders. So it's just in Dylan's best interest to try really hard. It's certainly not like out of reach for him to get to the podium. This is great beta. Well done there. So
almost opposing Gaston's, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but he's in the same point as Dylan saw him there, trying to get that thumb sprag press, and we saw Sam really ease his way into that. But I really wonder how good that top hold is, if it's possible to jump to that, or if you've really got to move quite statically to it.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like you have to move so quickly and be able to propel yourself to the other side of that hold to make better use of it, to be at a better angle, to make the best use out of it. And if you look at the feet in relation to the handholds, they really are quite close. You're in this bunched position where you can't load up the feet. Dylan's going to give this everything on his last attempt. I hope he uses the same beta he did before. I love this hand switch. It's great. Maybe you could slap out of that and then get the hands over each side of these Vesi holds.
Last attempt, all the Lab Masters. Oh, wow. That sums up the night. A lot of good climbers, trying hard, strong climbing, great routes. Wow. So Dylan won't make his way onto the podium, I believe. But, yeah. So they'll be just finalising the scoring now, making sure the athletes don't submit any appeals. And then we'll be back with podiums.
Thanks so much, Jasper. I've really enjoyed you coming in on this, mate. I hope everyone at home's really enjoyed the experience as well. It's so cool that we get to bring this to you live. It'll be something that athletes and competitors today and the spectators that will be able to go back and refer to and enjoy these moments. Amazing finals blocks put up by our route setters. I'm sure an amazing day felt by all the climbers today as well. And of course, a big thanks to all the technicians working on this live stream to make it possible for everyone. A big shout out to all our sponsors that we were mentioning before. And yeah, big shout out to the team at Boulder Lab as well. It's been a great event. We may head to some bit of B-roll of qualifications today. For now, we're going to let the scores roll. Jasper and I are just going to have a bit of reflections on our time, and we'll be jumping back to get back into the podiums. Thank you.
Who are we and what do we do? We study walls, we train, we dance, we climb, we fall, we laugh, we fall, we celebrate. No matter how small or tall the wall is, we all live and breathe this process. How are we able to keep trying again and again? Because of you. We gain courage, psych, and energy from the people around us that empowers us to be better. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
The red lines are a pretty good all-around aggressive shoe. They're pretty soft, so you can kind of feel what's underneath your feet, which is nice. Oh, yeah. The heel is that specified like Mad Rock heel that you see on the drone as well. There's like a little ridge, which can be very nice for some outdoor climbs. Also on these red lines, there's a whole bunch of toe hook rubber that if you know me at all, you know I love to toe hook and they perform very well. I've found that you can perform on fiberglass too. Like I took those shoes in the training center and they performed, and I took them out in little and they're still fantastic.
Who are we and what do we do? We study walls, we train, we dance, we climb, we fall, we laugh, we fall, we celebrate. No matter how small,
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Jasper and I are back. We're just about to get into the podiums. We're just saying hi to some friends and getting some feedback from everyone from the live stream, and the feedback is good. We're feeling really good about how the event went as well. We've got some good splits with the finalists, so bear with us before we get into it, but we are fast approaching getting onto the podiums. Thank you.
Yeah, just like to say, really impressive climbing. All those climbers who made finals, all those top 6, they're already really the cream of the crop. They're some of the best Australian climbers, so that's really impressive. And then the 3 you see on the podium, particularly the winners, they're just great, really strong.
Yeah, I hope to see Lab Masters in years to come to become a really premium event. We're already seeing people travelling interstate to get over to this event, and so hopefully we can actually push people to come from overseas and make it that big. So we're just going to listen out to what's being yelled out by the MC currently and essentially relay that information to you guys. Stan just giving a big shout out to all the competitors, conveying that it was a sold out event of 400 people. Crowd's giving a big round of applause to all the spectators, and obviously Boulder Lab as well for hosting the event. Stan's giving a thanks to the Boulder Lab staff for prepping the event, for working. DJ doing an incredible job, actually bringing a really good vibe for the finals. Stan's thanking himself now. Well played. Certainly very important. Route setters are being yelled out. I'm going. You're going to see my face. Here we go.
Well, Trent's heading off. Congratulating the route setters. So Trent has set off at quite a pace. Big congratulations. Trent was telling me of the boulders he set, and he's really passionate about what he does. And all the route setters at Boulder Lab, they set some great blocks, great holds we got as well. So thank you to all the route setters. You can see Trent, he's got a new buzz cut. He's also been my co-commentator today. And amazing blocks made by the route setters.
Thank you to Sarah as well for being one of the chief event organisers.
Stan's giving Sarah a big round of applause. She's been a big organiser of the event. She's a coach at Clayton as well. She's one of my coaches, actually. She's lovely. She's put on a great event. She's been busy all day running around, giving athlete briefings. Big thank you, Sarah.
Max Thomas in 3rd place from New South Wales. Well done by Max. Great fight from him. It'll be great to look out for him in the future years to come.
Second, got Dylan Parks. Strong climber, climbed really well today. He's had 2 tops, 4 zones, so yeah, prize money for all people on the podium.
And of course, Sam Lav in 1st place. What a weapon. He climbs so well. It was such an impressive display from him today. Great qualies round for him. 4 tops in finals. So big round of applause to these climbers. Well done.
$1,500 prize money to the winner of Lab Masters. It's a big event. As you can see, a lot of climbers coming down from interstate. This is a lot of prize money. Big event. It's pretty cool to have that kind of prize money for a climbing
Boulder Labs' own Claire Sheffings in third place. The crowd is going ballistic for Claire. We've got a lot of pride in our climbing space. Really exciting. Going into second place, we've got Clea Hall. Did really well. I really enjoyed watching her climb. Found some alternate beta on a couple of boulders and worked really hard.
Maya absolutely destroyed the competition today. 4 tops. You see her at the top of Boulder smiling to the crowd. Very, very well-deserved win. Very impressive stuff from Maya. She has had an absolute blinder today and a really, really strong climber.
Maya really put on a bit of a clinic today. It was really impressive to see the difference in her skill level to the other women, getting 4 tops and just climbing like a real professional climber despite still being on the youth scene. All right, this is where we wrap up. So thanks to all those who have tuned in on the live stream. We really appreciate it. If you can give it a like, that would be really good. If you can comment what you thought about it, that would be fantastic. Big thanks to our sponsors for this event. So we've had Friction Addiction supplying us with some Squadra holds and some Vesi holds. We also had Happy Beaner, we had Unparallel, we had Mad Rock, Casual, Cliff, and Chalk Up. So big thanks to our sponsors for making this event possible. We've got this awesome banner over the top of our event that's been showcased a lot. Be sure to check out these brands. Be sure to support these brands. They're busting their ass to get to these events and make sure that they're well sponsored and well looked after. So thank you so much to these sponsors. I'll hand over to you, Jasper, to say thanks to Boulder Lab.
Yeah, big thank you to all the people who put it on, all the route setters, all the volunteers, everyone who chooses to brush. Thanks to all the competitors, everyone who's turned up to watch and support people today. I think it's been a great event. I personally really enjoyed competing in the Pump Fest. The blocks were great, the people have been great, the music's been great, thanks to the DJ, and it's been pretty cool having the pop-up stalls in the front of the gym as well. Lots of cool stuff on display. I bought some tape in the morning. And yeah, great event. Thank you very much to Boulder Lab for putting it on. Thanks everyone for coming.
And lastly, a huge shout out to you, Jasper, and the technical team putting this on once again. It's not possible for us to be able to reflect on these events and really enjoy them once they've passed. So again, thank you so much to the team, particularly Ben and Josh. You've been absolute legends. But yeah, this is it. Thank you for enjoying Lab Masters 2024 with us. We'll be back next year. Be ready for something bigger and better, I'm sure. And we look forward to hearing your thoughts on the event in the comments and by connecting with Boulder Lab in the future as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Who are we and what do we do? We study walls, we train, we dance, we climb, we fall, we laugh, we fall, we celebrate. No matter how small or tall the wall is, we all live and breathe this process. How are we able to keep trying again and again? Because of you. We gain courage, psych, and energy from the people around us that empowers us to be better. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
The red lines are a pretty good all-around aggressive shoe. They're pretty soft, so you can kind of feel what's underneath your feet, which is nice. The heel is that specified like Mad Rock heel that you see on the drone as well. There's like a little ridge, which can be very nice for some outdoor climbs. Also on these red lines, there's a whole bunch of toe hook rubber that if you know me at all, you know I love to toe hook and they perform very well. I've found that you can perform on fiberglass too. Like I took those shoes in the training center and they performed, and I took them out in little and they're still fantastic.